Yes, guys, welcome back and a happy new year to everybody. Big up to everybody. Happy new year. I hope you had a great night last night with loved ones and family. Big up to everybody. Welcome back to the show. It's now 2023, brand new year, a brand new start. Yeah, and lots of Liverpool stuff to talk about today. We've got the Brentford game tomorrow. We're going to preview that. We're going to talk, I'm going to have a little chat about I want to have a little chat about FSG and Jurgen Klopp, the midfield situation. A lot of negativity around the club at the moment, even the Gakpo signing. There's rumours that FSG might actually stay and not sell the club now. There's a lot of talk about, guys. As always, the Liverpool Football Club, there's a lot of talk about. But I just want to say again, a massive Happy New Year and to all of you in the live chat. And also, thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting this channel over 3,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. I really, really do appreciate it. I just made it before the end of 2022. So much love to all of you for that. Thank you very much. Obviously, the next goal is 4K subscribers. We take it one game at a time over here, guys. One game at a time. Let's go to 4,000 next. Then 5,000 is the next target, and so on. So, if you are new, hit the sub button, like it, a video, all the good stuff as well, guys. Let's get the likes up straight away. 2 minutes in, there's 31 people in here already. Hit that like button, guys. Smash that fun button underneath the video. Subscribe if you're new as well. I really appreciate it. Get your comments in the live chat as well. I read out as much as your comments as I possibly can. I always scroll through them and look at them as well. If I can't read them out, I'll bring them up on screen anyway. But yeah, big up to everyone in the live chat. Big up to everyone watching. Thank you so much again for what you've done on this channel and what you've helped with the success on this channel. It's all down to you guys. Appreciate it. I couldn't do it without you. You are the greats. You are the ones. I am the twos. So big up to you guys in the live chat. Salute to you lot and a happy new year. Sue's in the house, shall we? Big up Ends. Hope you're doing well. Guys here, Ends, Cav, Baz, Savage, if you're all watching, guys, I've sent links to all of you if you want to come on. Big up Storm, how you doing? Good evening, mate, and all the best to you and your family this New Year. Same to you. Happy New Year to you as well, Edward. Afternoon, Jay, and Happy New Year to you as well, my friend. Big up, Daz. Happy New Year. Big up, Lee. Happy New Year to me, my man. Happy New Year, folks. What if we don't get midfielder in? Yeah, we'll go chat, man. We'll go chat. Big up, Gary. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Big up, Kadir. No midfielder for FSG. If that happens, they have blood in their hands. Big up, Kadir. Trudon FSG is staying. Wonderful news to start the year. Big up, Trudon. Look at Trudon's picture there. Maradona and Pele, man. What a picture. Big up to Beery. Happy New Year to you, my friend. And I saw your it don't come up on StreamYards, but on YouTube you can see it. Big up to you, member for 6 months. Appreciate it. Love, Sabiri. Jerry Club was never for sale. FSG out. People just read the statement wrong. Open to offers isn't for sale. Big up to you, Sabiri. Fraser, you guys ain't getting a midfielder. It's weird. Chelsea about to get. Yeah, Enzo and Badashila. Yeah. Chelsea, they're just throwing the money around there, ain't they? Big up Raging Bot. Thing with Chelsea, though, they're spending all this money. They need to get top four. If they don't get top four, they are in trouble. Afternoon, Jay. New Year. Happy New Year to you, Raging Pot. Big up, Gary. New incoming. Big up 6 times. Big up to you. If FSG stay, I'm going back on loan. Happy New Year to you, my friend. And Edward, I thought in the new year with some Guernsey rum, 15-year-old Eldorado. Big up to Edward. Big up to everyone in the chat. I do appreciate it. So obviously we've got Brentford coming up tomorrow. We've got to talk about that. Also, we've obviously got to talk about other things. We can't ignore the old FSG. The FSG problem in the house. The no midfielder signing in the house. We're going to have to talk about all these things as well. I've got a theory on a lot of this as well. I think Jurgen Klopp gets away with murder. I will be saying that later. Actually, I might start with this, So, I've been looking a lot on social media last couple of days and trying to read into all this transfer information and transfer history and under Jurgen Klopp and FSG at the same time. Yeah, big up, man. Like, how you doing, my friend? Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you and your loved ones. Big up to you. Um, so I've been reading up on all this. Yeah. So FSG and Klopp together, right? So obviously, when FSG first came in, it wasn't under Jurgen Klopp. It was under Brendan Rodgers. Transfer strategy was a lot different when they first come in. Everyone's got to remember that it was a lot different, you know. And it changed when Jurgen Klopp came in and when they got rid of Damien Comolli, they got Michael Edwards in charge. Mike Gordon went and moved to the UK and become a fixture over here and was basically the go-between between Klopp and FSG itself. And they basically run the club. Jurgen Klopp, um, Michael Edwards, they ran the football club and they deciding on the strategy we were going to go and buy players with. They did inside data here. I think it's Ian Dennis is his name, the computer analyst. They did media data, social data, looking at players that fit, good player prices that you could buy that have sell-on value in the years to come, but also in that years make you successful. This is FSG's what they do. You look at all the clubs they've owned in North America with the Red Sox and that. This is what they do. Just go and watch the film Moneyball. If you want to know what FSG do, just go and watch the film Moneyball, and it tells you everything there. But what they do, they are good business people. I ain't gonna say they're not. They are good business people. But what they do is they want they where they ever go, they want to be successful. Yeah, they want to be successful wherever they go. So they're successful in its early stages of their career. So with the Red Sox, with Liverpool, and all that sort of stuff, they're always, you know, successful. Then the success catches them up, and they can't continue that success. So I can understand why everyone's got a problem, right? My issue is though, right? So this is where I'm coming from. My issue. So I've been reading up on this the last few days because I want to get this all right. Yeah. Everyone says we need a midfielder, and I agree. We need a shitload of midfielders. Yeah, we've got a lot of quantity, but we haven't got a lot of quality, and that's the difference. We've got 11 midfielders, but 3 of them are quality. The rest are just hand-me-downs. We need. I rather have 7 quality, instead of 11 players. So here's my problem with it all. And I think Jurgen Klopp does get away with it a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I think Jurgen does get away with it a little bit. Now, this ain't me having a go at Jurgen Klopp, by the way. This ain't me saying, I'm Klopp out. Oh, I hate the man. Get him out. Fucking. I'm not saying any of that shit. We have just got to look at this through neutral eyes. Take your bias out for FSG. Take your bias out for Klopp. And just look at it neutrally through the lens. Yeah. So you look at all the midfielder. Big up to John, by the way. Look, you look at all the midfielders. All right. That have gone around Europe. Look at all the midfielders that have gone around Europe. They're all in the quality midfielders that have gone for like the 20, 30, 40 million pounds. Yeah, you like your Camavingas and stuff like that, and your Valverde's before they went to Real Madrid, and what's his name? He went to Bayern Munich. All these players, yeah, right, that went for really cheap prices, yeah, that could all get into Liverpool's midfield right now, right? And I look at that and I go, well, why ain't Liverpool interested in these kind of players, man? Why ain't Liverpool interested in these kind of players? If we're on about FSG, don't like to spend money, and they got a certain price type and a certain age type, and you got people like Camavinga going around Madrid for 20 odd million, yeah. You got, I can't remember the geezer's name, went to Bayern Munich for like 25 million. Liverpool always interested in, yeah. If you got these players available, right, that are going at Gravenberch, big up there. You got these players, right, going around Europe for near 20 million odd pound, 30 million pound, right, that are all Liverpool priced players, yeah. Then why aren't we going for them? Why aren't we going for them? Is it more of a Klopp thing? Is it more of Klopp saying, I don't want that kind of player? I don't want that kind of player. So I look at the midfield and think, if that's the case, there is a problem because if it is not Jurgen Klopp and it's the transfer committee, if it's it must be something in the club looking at these players and going, no, Gravenberch is not as good as Henderson. He's not as good as Milner. He's not as good as Ox. He's not as reliable as Cater. I mean, that'd be a joke. Can you imagine if that was the talk? Why would we go for him? He won't. It's 25 million wasted because they're not going to get in front of them players. And I'd be like, well, if that's the case, if people in the club believe that or Jurgen believes that, then we've got a serious issue because he is better than some of them players I mentioned and more reliable than some of them players. Camavinga, you telling me we couldn't get Camavinga? There's no way Liverpool could get Camavinga to buy those players. They're 20 odd million. Yeah. I'm not on about the 70 million pound footballers here. I'm not on about the 80 million pound footballers, the 90 million pound footballers, the 100 million pound footballers. That's not what FSG go for as a player. Look at Gakpo, yeah? 37 million. It's FSG's price range. It's a good bit of business. Look, I'm not going to say Liverpool don't get good business either. I'm not going to say Liverpool don't do good business either. Of course they do good business. Gakpo for 37 million is a ridiculous bit of business. When you look at Anthony, who went to Man United from the Dutch league, if you look at both of them, Gakpo and Anthony are in the Dutch league, yeah? Anthony went to Man United for 100 million. Gakpo went to Liverpool for 37 million. And Gakpo's stats in the same league that Anthony played in are better. So Liverpool got a better deal.
Yeah.
Liverpool got a better deal in that situation. So Liverpool can do great deals. I'm not going to say they don't. Liverpool can do great deals, right? Darwin Núñez. I love Darwin Núñez. And I think in the years to come, Darwin Núñez will be worth the money. There's no doubt about it, in my opinion. I don't think there's a doubt about that. It will be worth the money. When you listen to Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville talking about Darwin Núñez after the game the other day, and the way they were like, yeah, Darwin Núñez is a player, and you can see he's going to be class in a couple of years' time. They've got a superstar in their hands. You can see it, all right? No matter what people might say in the chat, you can see there's something there. So they can do good business, this football club. Of course we can. I was listening to Talk Sport the other day, and Jason Cundy was basically saying that Liverpool are the best at transfers. Liverpool are the best at transfers. Look at these deals they always get. Your Salah for 30 million, your Mane's for 30 odd million. All these kind of players. You're like, well, this is awesome business. And then when they had to spend the money on higher end of the transfer market, your Van Dijk's for 75 million a year and your Alisson's for 60 odd million, because they're the players Klopp saw that only fitted what he wanted for us to win things. So we can do it. We can do it, and we're very good at that. Right? I'm just looking at it now in the midfield area, John. We bought one midfielder in the last few years, and that was Thiago. And that midfield area has been neglected for a while. And I don't understand the reason for the neglection so far. You look at the forward line, Luis Diaz gets injured, right? We go and buy Gakpo this January, right? Yeah. 37 million. This is where I'm coming to right now, guys, in the chat. I know I'm waffling, but I'll get there, right? So Gakpo was 37 million. We went and got him in January because apparently he was a summer target, but we went for January because the likes of Man United was sniffing around him. Same thing with Luis Diaz, right? The Man United was sniffing around him. Liverpool always wanted him. There was always talk about Liverpool going to get him, but because of the injury to Luis Diaz, they needed to get him earlier, right? So Liverpool went and sorted that area out quite quickly and quite great. As soon as the transfer window opened, Liverpool sorted out an issue where they got a long-term injury and a player might not play again this season. It's very important to us. Done it. No problem. Everyone's happy about it. I'm happy about it. I don't know any Liverpool fan that ain't happy about the Gakpo signing. Great bit of business. Well played the football club for that. Right? The centre-back area. They always wanted Konate. So in the January when we had no centre-backs, Liverpool wanted Konate, right? So the way I hear it, what I've heard is that Konate, Klopp didn't want a bit like the Van Dijk situation, yeah? Klopp didn't want anyone else but Konate. The thing was Upamecano and Konate at the time, and it was actually Ralph Ragnick who spoke to Jurgen Klopp. They're good friends, and he told him, "Don't go for Upamecano. Konate's a beast." You know, if
Yep.
he's going superstar at 2, go and get Kanate. So Jurgen Klopp only wanted Kanate. So in the January, when he did that press conference and said about the owners and needing the centre back, he wanted Kanate. The problem was Kanate had a contract in his contract. He couldn't move to another Champions League club in January if Leipzig was still in the Champions League, and I think Leipzig got to a quarter final that year. And again, as soon as the summer transfer window started, even before it opened, actually, Liverpool bought Kanate straight away. Job done, no problem. Yeah. So it just shows when Liverpool have a target in mind, they do go and get them for the position they need. So they sorted the centre back area out, which needed sorting, got their player. We needed a striker, an attacker this January because of the injury to Luis Diaz. They went and got the striker. But for some reason, they won't upgrade this midfield, John. And I don't know why. I know we got numbers. Now, a lot of people will tell you we got 11 midfielders. And as I keep saying, 3 are quality, the rest are hand-me-downs. You know, it's you could have 100. You know, you could have 100 women, yeah, but 99 of them are dogs. You know, you might as well have 5 good ones. Do you know what I mean? You don't want all these midfielders if none of them are reliable on your wages as well, especially with FFG the way they are, yeah. Especially the way that FSG are, right? You got Ox, who's been injured for years, and we still can't keep paying him. Why? We got Cater, who's been injured for years, but we keep paying him. Why? You know, them two especially. I don't understand why we not just let them go, got rid of them. Ox has always come. There's always been teams that have come in for Jurgen for Oxlade-Chamberlain. There's always players that have come in for Oxlade-Chamberlain. Why have we never let him go? I don't know. You know, might as well just let him go. Cater, he's been there for years. Why are we not just let him go? You know, just take a knockdown price on these players. Stop paying them ridiculous wages when they're not available, and go and sort the midfield situation out. I don't get it, John. I don't get it.
I don't understand myself. I've said for ages, if what I would do with Ox and Keita is literally just rip the contracts up. We're going to lose them in the summer. Just rip the contract up and let them go now. While they're still here, why are we paying these money to sitting on either on the bench or in the hospital?
In the hospital.
Just rip the contracts up, get rid of them, get them off the books, get them out the door, bring new blood in. But in terms of FSG, mate, I got a sneaky feeling that this club is not up for sale. And the reason the FSG are saying it's up for sale is so they don't have to spend the money that it's going to require to spend. And they can literally come out and turn and go, well, we tried to sell a club, but the bid didn't come in. I get a weird feeling the club is not up for sale.
Yeah.
Just so they don't have to spend the money that it's going to take to spend. But again, that's where Jurgen Klopp is also to blame. And this is the first time I'll ever criticize him. Jurgen Klopp said a few months ago, Liverpool are ready to spend big. We need to start spending big on first teamers. And then the other day he says we need to raise money to spend money. So Klopp, what is it? Are we ready to spend big, or do we need to raise money to spend money? Which one is it? Because you're making no sense. You're putting out signals. So now we're going to start getting on his back because it came out his mouth, literally out his mouth. We're going to start spending big. We need to spend big, and now we need to raise money to spend money. It makes no sense. What is going on in our football club? Yes, we have Capo in the door. We're happy about Capo, 100%. I'm over the moon. But people seem to forget. Yes, we have Capo. Julian Ward's leaving the club. We have directors leaving the club, left, right, and centre. The club is apparently up for sale. This club is in a mess at the minute. An absolute mess. And if someone doesn't get a grip of this, it could end very badly for us.
Yeah, I mean, just I just say Happy New Year to John and Cav. Big up to you guys. Hope you had a
New Year
great day
to you, mate.
yesterday and
Happy New Year,
everything.
Kath.
Great night.
Hi, both.
Um,
Happy New Year to you both. Happy
and,
New Year,
and
chat, and all
Happy
of
New
them
Year.
things.
But yeah, I was just so basically what I started saying is like I was just looking at the whole situation with Liverpool and transfers, way we do business. And like I was saying just now, I'm happy with the way Liverpool buy players sometimes. Look at some of the players we bought for very good prices. You can't complain about it, not way near. I look at the Gakpo deal just now. You know, you look at Gakpo and Anthony, both played in the same Dutch league. One went for 100 million, one went for 37 million. You know, Gakpo's stats are far better, you know, in the same league. So, you know, Liverpool are very good at getting that business done. Jason Cundy and Talksport saying Liverpool are the king of the transfers for getting the right price for the right player. And I'm cool with all that. And like I just said, Liverpool, look, Diaz out for the whole year, basically. He's not coming back this season. I'd be very surprised if he does. So what do Liverpool do? They go and get a striker they need. So they went and got Gakpo. Good price, yeah? Fix that area brilliantly. So as soon as the transfer window opened, they went, bang, we're getting him now. The defence, when we lost Van Dijk, that January, Klopp only wanted Kanate. You know, it's the only defender he wanted. We know what Klopp's like. He wants particular players. So he only wanted Kanate. Unfortunately, Kanate wasn't available in the January because of his contract with Leipzig because he was still in the Champions League. So he couldn't go anywhere to a Champions League club in January. So he couldn't go. So fair enough. But as soon as the transfer window opened in the summer, what do? We grabbed Kanate straight away before anyone got in there. All right? Done deal. Sorted that centre-back area out. But for some reason, the midfield's not been touched. And Thiago was our last midfield buy, which obviously is a great buy as well for 20 odd million. Sort of kicked us in the teeth with the Mane deal, but it was still a good bit of business that you can't complain and moan about. But then I've been saying earlier, I look at FSG, the type of play they like to sign, the age bracket, you know, all this sort of stuff. And I look at some of the midfielders that have gone across Europe in the last 12 months, to like your Bayern Munich's and your Real Madrid's and your Inter Milan's and stuff like that. And like for 20, 30 million and good players as well. And I'm sitting there looking at it and thinking yesterday to myself, I was actually thinking out loud. Lauren's like, what are you talking about? But I was looking at it and thinking, why ain't Liverpool gone for these players? Because they're the price range that's not going to hurt FSG's pockets that badly, you know, and they're good footballers. And I look at it and think now, it's like, if they don't think they're going to be, look, I understand what they do. They try and buy a player, gives you success, and has something to sell at the end of it. You know, you can make something out of it. I get that. That's their structure. And I'm not going to have a go at them for that because it's the way they do business. And it's been pretty good till now. But when you've got players like, as I said, Ox is always injured, paying him ridiculous wages for basically a player that don't play. Same with Naby, you know, and you got a Milner there who's 36. You got a Hendo there who's 31, 32, been at a club for 12 years. I don't want to get rid of Hendo, but I'm just saying you got to look at the future, you know, and you got players like Camavinga, things like this going for 20 odd million. You're like, why Liverpool? Surely that's an FSG player because he's got a bright future. You can see that. If Real Madrid sold him tomorrow, they'd probably double what they bought him in a way, tripled what they bought him. So there's value there. So what is it? Is it becoming maybe a little bit of a Jurgen Klopp problem? Not in a bad way. I love Jurgen, but is it coming a bit of a Jurgen Klopp player problem when he might be one who's thinking, I don't want I don't want a Camavinga. I don't want a Mateus Nunes who went to war. I don't want these players. Sometimes he's been right because there's players that have gone out for clubs and you've seen right, they are shocking. So sometimes he's been right. Sometimes he's not been right. But there's something holding us back in the midfield area, Cav, and I can't quite yet get my head around it.
Okay, so let's just addressing the Gakpo stuff first, right? So Diaz gets injured, and we can't underestimate how important Diaz is for our club. Okay, yeah. He is. I'm not saying he's the best left winger in the world, but for Liverpool and for what we want to achieve, which is Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, Luis Diaz is a huge, huge player. And from the minute he come in last January, he's arguably been our best player from that point in time. you never can expect to lose Diaz. You know, it was an injury he received in the game, and he's ruled him out almost for the remainder of the season. We'll be lucky if we see, 5-6 games out of him come the end. You can't really prepare for that, okay? But what the club have done is they've reacted and they've signed Gakpo, and
Exactly.
it was staring them in the face that they had to do something, quite simply, because of how important Diaz is, and because the injury is so long. Okay, so it's not as if you think, it's the 2-3 week injury, maybe a month we can hold out for that long, and we'll get away with it until the summer. It's completely different. He's out, he's done with, he's gone. On top of that, you've got Jota, who has had sort of repeat injuries from the summer, right? So that's the same position. So the Gakpo one was obvious, and it's a really good signing for the fee and the player that he is.
Great business.
It's slightly different to the Konate situation in that January where we'd lost Virgil, we'd sort of lost all our defenders, and we were relying on Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. He in that summer, we've got to remind ourselves that it was a COVID season and that there was no players or no fans, coming to the stadium. And the finances did take a bit of a hit. And not only were the finances taking a hit, but in typical FSG fashion, they just tightened the purse strings. They were just completely risk adverse. And they didn't want to throw money at a player that isn't, their top target just to have an immediate impact, which also isn't guaranteed. The sort of names we were looking at, like at the time, Coletta Carr and stuff, they were like 30 odd million. And I know we don't think that's a lot of money, but other than Alisson and Van Dijk, we don't spend big. That's the sort of money we would spend on a player. So it's slightly different. It was frustrating at the time, but it was a slightly different situation for us financially, I believe. And look, at the end of it, although we might not have liked it, it was the right call because we still ended up getting top four. I know some people will probably argue, look, if we got a player in, we maybe could have challenged for the title because we had such a good start to the season. But we got the top four, albeit with a bit of magic. And then we got the player in that we're all looking at now, not as like a 1-year signing, a 2-year signing, as a guy literally that we're hoping can stay at Liverpool for the rest of his career. Yeah. Because he's that good and he can be the replacement for Virgil. We're begging for him to be in every lineup. So that's the caliber of player it enabled us to get in Konate. So the situations are different. I'm looking at the squad now, the 25-man squad now. And the defense is pretty good. It's pretty well covered, right? You can maybe argue we could have moved on Nat Phillips for a price, maybe Joe Gomez for a price, but you still got to then replace these guys. The forward line we went into with Salah, Firmino, Jota, Diaz, Nunes, and Carvalho. Also a very good option for the front line. Okay, yeah. So it's really the midfield we're concerned with. Fabinho, Thiago, and Henderson is our first choice midfield. And you got to think in the summer, you never anticipated the drop off in Fabinho. You never anticipated the drop off in Henderson, even though he looked like from the World Cup he's improved slightly. And Thiago, in fairness, he's been brilliant, but a few games of late, I think he's just been a bit average. Okay, so he's tailed off a little bit. Curtis Jones is a young man on next to no money, homegrown. It's obvious you keep him in the squad. Milner we know what he offers, utility player, can cover many positions, is a leader in the camp. Okay, fine, you keep him. But really, we're just talking about Naby and Ox, and it was blaringly obvious. Blaringly obvious we needed to replace them. Okay, and then you bring in Arfamella last minute, whatever. But that's still 9 midfielders you're going in for 3 positions for the season, okay? And 3-4 of them are genuine world-class quality, or so it was at the time with Fabinho and stuff. I can understand why they went into the season thinking 9 players for 3 positions, that would be enough. I understand that they thought starting 11-wise, that's a quality for midfield 3. The disappointing thing was not recognizing that they needed to move on Ox and Naby. Now, Ox got injured in the summer, made it hard then to sell, so we were a bit screwed there. Naby is a clear and obvious mistake whereby they brought him for so much money, invested so much into him, time and effort and everything, and his stock wasn't high. And it's just like having stock in any kind of business or company or whatever. You don't want to sell when it's low. You try and hold on to it in hope that the guy can get fit, can play, and then you maybe move him on. at some point, but it didn't happen, and it's a mistake. We should have just cut our losses and moved him on, and then that would have freed up room for these players that you're talking about, Jamie, where the likes of Camavinga, the likes of Gravenberch, and others that we've seen move around Europe for like relatively low transfer fees. But then these players are coming in and replacing the position of Naby and Ox, whereby they're not really first teamers. And then that becomes a bit of a, let's say first teamers, sorry, like starting 11 guys, they're bench guys.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a hard sell as well. So unless you're going to bring these guys in and sell them the world and tell them that you're going to, in 2 or 3 years' time, build the team around them and stuff, which, look, we know they're good players, but they are wonder kids, if you like. The potential's there, but the career isn't guaranteed. It's a bit of a difficult one to try and get them in, but I think I do agree with you. We should maybe have more of these signings that we do see going around Europe at that kind of price range to come in. We just have to find a way of convincing them. And if they come in and they're not getting the minutes they want, or they feel like they've been mispromised things, then you move them on, and you might just have to take a hit. But the risk on a 10-20 million pound signing, it shouldn't be huge for a club the size of Liverpool. So maybe we should take more chances on it. But it's a difficult one because you only have so many places in the squad. We know about the homegrown quota. We've got to do a bit of jigging around in the summer to try and work that out. And then quite simply, it comes down to the player, how he'll integrate into the squad. There's so many factors. But my overriding feeling was that whilst I would like more of these kind of signings and more quality and depth and have these like younger players that have got so much potential, we went into this season with a really quality 25-man squad. And that's where I'm disappointed, because I know the injuries are there, and I say it almost every week. We have enough quality in this team every single game to go out and win, and we've not been doing that. So that's nothing to do particularly with signings, because if the guys that are actually in this squad that have the quality and have proved it over the past few years, if they performed how they should be performing, I think we would be sitting here right now, with a club that's, through in the Champions League, which we are, FA Cup will be in the same position, maybe through in the Carabao Cup. But I mean, if you draw Man City, it's a look of the draw whether you get through or not. And that bit would probably be second or first in the league. And then we'll probably be sitting here going, you know what? Fabinho's just as good as he was. Henderson's still, as good as he was. And, Salah, but like Nunes is settled well. Diaz is really progressed and is settled into the club. Jota's having the impact that he always has. And you will be saying all these things. We won't be too much concerned with the squad. I just think this is maybe something that we're feeling because of the fact that the guys that are in the squad have let us down. And I think we're just in a position now where we're looking at the club going, was this inevitable? Did we kind of bring this on ourselves through not like acting when we were at our peak and at our best? And are we in this situation for sort of resting on our laurels slightly and not getting like quality players in, even though we felt like we had the best starting 11 in the world football? I think it's a lot of things. And I tend to agree with Jamie. I think that probably comes down to Klopp as well. Don't think it's solely him, but I think the loyalty he's shown to players and not had the foresight to think, surely Henderson's going to drop off at some point. Let's get someone in the door that, can take his position. Some people will argue that's Elliott, but he's a completely different type of midfielder. So it's a lot of things. And I suppose the disappointing thing for us is like, and we said it the other day when we spoke, we got back to the top, and you should always strengthen it when you're in a position of strength, just like we've seen United do when they were there. And we've just not done that. We've not done it well enough. And we now find ourselves in a position where everyone gets back to fit and playing and back in form. We'll still be one of the best teams in Europe. We can win any trophy. We still have that, but we need to get players in the door and start thinking about the future and how we're going to refresh this squad up. It looks like we made a start. We just need to continue with it.
Just on that one, you said if we get everyone back fresh and fit on form, right? If you ask anybody right now who's going to win this, who do you think will win the league title? Everyone would say Man City still.
No, I'm going Arsenal. Man City are dead, man. I've been telling everyone all season.
No, but right. I reckon the majority of people would say Man City could still win this title, right?
Mm.
Liverpool, what, 8 points behind Man City?
Yeah, which is mad considering how crap we are.
15 points off Arsenal. We were 14 points behind last season. Are we really in that bad of a shape?
No, and that's the point, John. I don't think we are for such an inconsistent season and poor performances. We still have the quality in the squad to be at that level. Like the performance, I think Arsenal have won every single game bar 2. They've drawn 1 and lost 1, right?
Yeah.
That Liverpool should be doing that for the quality we have in this squad and the manager that we have and the experience of winning that we have. Okay, that should be us. And for me, the reason it's not us is largely down to the players and Klopp himself. I lay some blame towards Klopp and the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Because like we've seen against Leicester, right? Recent game just gone. That starting 11 was almost the best we've got. Okay, maybe bar 1 or 2 players.
Hang on. I just need to look, Romel. Man, you don't have to be rude in the chat, my man. You can have your opinion, but can we not be rude to my guests in the chat? If you don't agree with what Cav has to say, you don't have to call him names and swear at him and stuff like that. That's not nice, man. Cav's having his opinion. Football's about opinions. If you don't like it, you don't have to swear and be horrible and rude, man. It's New Year's Day. Let's be nice around here, my man. Let's be nice around here. I saw some of your messages as well. Where is the other one? Who's world class is before I buy it? I'm fucking sick of these channels excusing our owners. No one's excusing the owners. No one. And by the way, when we won the hang on, John, hang on. And when we won the Premier League and Champions League, who was our world class midfield?
Yep.
So let's just
I
chill
said,
a bit.
Just
Let's
to clarify,
let's just be nice. Let's just be nice. It's New Year's damn day. If you don't, Ramel, I understand. If you don't like it, man, I don't like what people say sometimes in chats and stuff like that. But you can say it in a way without being rude, my man. You can just say, "Look, Cav, I don't agree with any of your points," and then just put points in the chat and then I'll get them up, and then I'll bring them to the panel, and we can discuss them. But don't be rude about it, my friend. Don't be rude about it, my friend. And no one's excusing the owners. No one's excusing the owners. But the owners are not everyone to blame in this football club.
Yep.
You know, we can't go on this thing where Liverpool win a game of football, it's all down to Klopp. Liverpool win the Premier League and Champions League, it's all down to Klopp. Liverpool lose a game, it's FSG's fault. We can't be doing that. You know, we won the Premier League and Champions League under the ownership of FSG. Yeah. Do they not get some respect for that? Come on, what world are we living in? We can't split hairs here. But yeah, let's be nice in the chat, guys. Let's be nice in the chat. Yeah, sorry,
hey, just to finish the point, John.
And Happy New Year to G, by the way. Happy New Year to G.
Big up, G.
Yeah, see you, man. Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year, man.
Hey, just to finish my point to you, John, and I agree with you, right? And I was just going to use the Leicester game as an example. That starting 11, right, has Alisson, arguably the best keeper in the world. Van Dijk has been off it, but start the season, you wouldn't expect the drop off from him. Matip, Trent, Robbo, you got your back 5. Yeah. Got a midfield in there that you could maybe say you'd replace Henderson with Fab, and then maybe in the forward line, Oxford Diaz. But that starting 11 is quality. You've got Jurgen Klopp there, right? You've had some players just off of a break. You've had a few games, including the mid-season break, to sort of prepare. What excuse is there to go out and put a performance in like that?
Yeah.
And that's the point I'm trying to make, is we are in this league position, right? Why is it 6th now? Yes, the signings would have helped, okay? But there's no excuse for us to be in this position because, like I say, every starting 11 we've had for all of these games has been good enough. You know, we're not in this position because we've lost to Man City and Arsenal. They're in. We're not in this position because we've lost to the top teams in this league or the most informed teams in this league. We're in this position quite simply because we lost to Leeds at home. We drew with Forest. We drew with Everton. We drew with Fulham. That's not good enough. And I don't care what you say, right? Signings would help that, yes. But signings alone shouldn't be what we just talk about. We need to talk about tactics, coaching, and the players that are out there. It's not good enough what they've given us this season.
You're 100% correct. But I just don't. Yes, signs would. I understand signs would help. Yes, and I was this guy before saying just to back up our owners. I'm the biggest FSG guy out you'll ever meet, but they do deserve some respect. They definitely deserve some respect. So I'll put that one right there. But there's just something, I don't know, there's something inside me tell me that Liverpool are not out this title race just yet.
John,
don't know what
what's your New Year's Eve like, John?
I look at last season. Last season we were 14 points behind. We were only 15 points behind Arsenal, and look where we finished. I hear people still tell me today that City's going to win the league. We're only 8 points behind City, and we still need to play them.
I think the trouble is,
it's not impossible.
We're not the same team as last year. That's the problem, ain't it?
Yes, granted. But Liverpool's a team I can never ever write off.
No, I'll give you. I do agree with you that I wouldn't write us off on anything. We are that. I mean, we are going on a bit of winning run right now. Although I will get to the game the other day. It's the funniest game of football. I've never laughed so much at winning a game in my life. But look, we're when your luck's in, your luck's in. You know what I'm saying? So, we're on a bit of a winning run right now, Premier League wise. So, yeah, I agree. I know what you're saying there, John, and I agree. And our fixtures are quite not too bad either. But, Gee, I don't know if you heard much of the conversation to start with, my friend. Your thoughts on it all?
So everything everyone's really said, kind of agree with, man. I think what Cav was saying, I agree with in terms of we do have the numbers in the midfield and stuff like that. I think it's just more about, we say all the time, it's just more about the quality that we don't have. We spoke about it, I think on the last show or the show before that about, there's too much of a drop off when one player comes off the pitch. It just, the drop off is just crazy. And of course, we didn't foresee that Liverpool, certain players would just be off form. But what we did know, everyone knew, is that this team, it always needed a refresh. I just don't know, and I don't think any team in the history of teams who have won the Premier League have ever just kept going with like the same team. Even Chelsea, when Chelsea had an old John Terry, Frank Lampard, like that team wasn't winning Premier Leagues or anything like that. I think they did win a European trophy, I think, possibly, but they knew they also had to refresh. They had to get in some new blood. They had to get in some new players. Like they needed to change things around. Man United have done it. Man City have done it. Like you can see it with City. City are even now in that position. We've had enough games now to probably say that City are in a position where I almost feel like they need a refresh, not a crazy one like we do, but they almost do need that kind of a refresh in terms of maybe certain positions, potentially. Again, Patman, you'll be the one to tell us anyway, but I just feel when I watch them, I'm like, they do look like, what I mean? They're not really moving as how I would expect them to kind of go. And then you got to worry about teams like Arsenal, and then you got to worry about teams like Newcastle. Like Arsenal, I feel people should be worried whether they win the league or not this season. Be worried, because this is a team whose average age, I can't even remember, I think it's like 24 or something like this is a team, when we won the Premier League and Champions League, we were all past 25. Everyone's 25 and up, 25, 26, we were pushing those kind of ages. And that's when we were winning things. This is a team who are 21, 20, 19, 22, 20, and they're already in this position where you're looking at them and you're thinking, well, they're ready. They're ready to kind of go on that kind of title charge. And at the moment, they are the team to kind of beat. So I'm looking at them and I'm thinking it's going to be scary hours if they were to win the Premier League this season, because what do you do from here? They can actually keep the nucleus of the team, because the reality is everyone is still so young. We can't do that because everyone's touching their 30s now. We do need that level of a refresh where we just need to be able to bring in some young quality players. And I think that for me is the key moving into 2023, is just get some quality players in, get rid of whoever you need to get rid of, loan out the right Jones. He needs a loan like there is no tomorrow. Get him out of the club, get him a loan, for just until Jan, just to see how he goes. Even if you want to bring him back, but just to see what he's like in playing every single week in a team that's whatever the situation is over there, and then we can go from there. But I feel like Klopp's just, it's like for me, it's the loyalty thing. Like he's constantly in this position of like, he wants to make everything a family kind of, which is great. But then you got to remember, if you don't really want to upset the apple cart, it's just going to come to the hindrance of everything else. Like it's a domino effect. So that's where I'm just a little bit annoyed, where this whole midfield thing, I don't care who we sign in that regards. It can be Gravenberch, it can be Jude, it can be Amrabat. It doesn't really matter. But surely, Klopp, you're not that naive to think that there's only a specific type of player that you can sign that would improve this team. But then I don't think he wants to upset Ox. I don't think he wants to upset your Milners. I don't think he wants to upset Jones because he's a homegrown player. Like, he doesn't want to upset them. Whereas he needs to start upsetting players because it's just becoming to the detriment of the team because we've been here for too long. But that's just my opinion on that.
No, I agree with a lot of that. Look, there's things. I look at the team we got right now, right, and as G said, we seem to like fall apart with one or two injuries. That shouldn't be the case because there is plenty of players in that team that you can still do stuff with. Now, when I look at it, is Jurgen too? Look, I don't like blaming, but I really don't like blaming people. Although I hate the blame game. Oh, this is why this is happening. This is why that's happening. But for some, I do think Jurgen gets away with a lot. I love Jurgen. Don't get me wrong. I don't want him going anywhere. But I do think Jurgen gets away with quite a lot sometimes because of the hatred for the owners at the moment. We lost 7-2 to Aston Villa, by the way, with a decent first 11 on the pitch. Any other manager would have come in for bullets. Everyone blamed FSG for the loss. Right? Things like I think Jurgen does get away with a lot. I think he can have done better this season. I really do. I think he could have done better this season in some scenarios. Tactics just need to change. Coaching needs to change. You know, your setup needs to change. You know, if you've got a team of older players now that can't quite do what you did before, change it up. Change it up. Play a different way. You know, we can't always just go to the owners. It's the owners' fault. 100% everything's the owners, and what the man's doing who takes control of this team is no blame whatsoever. You know, and I always like the adjective of everyone keeps saying, give Jurgen money and watch him go. Yeah, I mean, you could give money to a lot of managers and watch them go. Do you know what I mean? It's what you do with them. Look at Chelsea. Look, Chelsea are spunking money like it's going out of fashion on players here, there, and everywhere, right? Because it's not Todd Bowley's money. Everyone's like, oh, American owners do, but it's not his money. He's heavily invested. He's got investors, secret investors that are spending that money for him, right? But look at the money they've spent already this season. They've had two managers and they're below us in the league and we're dog shit. So money don't always bring success. It's how you spend it. So I'm not always like, this is why I'm that sort of fan who's like, I don't need £100 million player to make me happy. You know, I'm not that sort of fan. I've watched Man United buy quality footballers. That's not lie. Man United have bought quality footballers, right, for a lot of money, but it's not worked because Man United don't know how to set up a system till Ten Hag's come in. Ten Hag has now come in and started setting up a system and a way of playing, and Man United look a little bit better for it. But Man United are only 4 points above us. You know, it's not, and they spent shitloads of money, right? So money don't always make success. But with Jurgen this season, I'm looking at the team and thinking, yeah, we have got very good players in this team. You know, should we just be doing a little bit better? I'm not saying title challenge or anything like that. But I look at Newcastle and I look at Liverpool, right? That shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
I look at Newcastle's 11. I look at Liverpool's 11. It shouldn't be happening. It just shouldn't be happening, right? And Liverpool shouldn't be out of the top four right now, even with the team we got right now, with the injuries we've had. Because a lot of the players that are still playing are still the first teamers. You know, it's not like we're losing all our first team players. A lot of the injuries are actually squad players. So we should be still up there. So we can't. I do blame FSG at this moment in time. For everyone comes at me, I'm not sitting on FSG's dick here or anything like that. I am blaming them, but I'm not just blaming them solely. as far as I'm concerned, this club is like that. Manager, owners are like that, in my opinion. They're one and the same. They love working together. They love everything, how business is done. And because Jurgen is so in charge now, he's got so much power at the club. If FSG phone in or whatever and say, "What do you need? What do you need?" I need a centre back. Let's go and get Kanate. I need a forward. I've lost Diaz. Let's look at Gakpo. We're trying to sign him for 3 weeks. So Liverpool already knew that's what they wanted. So they went and signed a player. That's why I like the Gakpo signing and what Liverpool did, because we had a very important player for us in Luis Diaz, injured out till the end of the season. We went and replaced him in the first transfer window we could. Respect. Fine. I like that. The centre-back area, Gomez, Matip, Virgil got injured. They wanted Kanate. They couldn't get him in January. As soon as the summer transfer window opened, they literally went and got him. So they got the players they wanted to get. But as I keep saying, the midfield is being neglected. And I don't know who's to blame. I really don't know who's to blame. FSG are the owners. They're the money men. But Jurgen has so much power now. We can't just go, "Oh, it's just John W. Henry's fault. Jurgen's 100% blameless in all this," and we move on from there. Do you know what I mean? That just, for me, as a fan watching, I can't get my head around that and make sense of it. I really can't.
Yeah. And look, I don't want to sound like I'm coming for Klopp. It's just that I'm trying to just raise a point when we talk about these things. And look, there's so many factors to it. We can't possibly discuss them all. But when I see the performances of some players today, this season, and then I see the performances of last season, the drop-off is insane. Like, the drop-off from Fabinho is mad. Do you know what I mean? Like, the end of last season going into the summer, who would have thought would have got that out of him? It's crazy. And then, I look at the performances, and I'll go back to the Leicester game because obviously it was the last game, but I could go back to Leeds, I'd go back to Forest, Fulham, right? So many games where we always say we've got world-class players and the best manager in the world, right? Some might think Pep, is the best, but everyone, I believe, in this chat probably have him in top 2 or 3. And we've always said he's such a great, motivator of men and things like this. Well, I've watched games like this season where no one looks motivated. And then I'm like, okay, well, I have to look at Klopp then, because I'm like, why are these players coming out on the pitch and look like they can't be bothered? Like, they're not the ones that are injured. They're fit. They're available. Why ain't they showing some fight on the pitch? So then I have to look at the guy, the manager, just like we do with every other team. I can't let my admiration and love for Klopp cloud this judgment. You have to. And then you look at some of the actual play within the match. Now, defensively, we know we've been outrunning midfield. We get carved open. We've looked weak. We've criticised Trent this season for his attitude and tracking back. We've criticised Virgil for not getting out and engaging in tackles and stuff like this, right? But I look at the overall play and the patterns of play and trying to just create triangles and pass and moves and 1-2s and stuff. And it's just, for large parts of this season, it's not been there. And I've quite often felt watching these games, although we've always scored goals, because it's probably an unwarranted criticism, I felt like our actual play isn't great, isn't good. And I look at the starting 11 and I'm like, the starting 11 is pretty decent. It's not perfect, but you're never going to have your first choice starting 11 every week. So you're always going to have to cope with having 2 or 3 replacements in there. And then I look at with the fact we've got a world-class manager, I'm just like, it don't quite stack up. And I know people then see the results and the bad performances and they're like, oh, it's because we've not made signings and stuff. And that I agree. I think that's half the story. But I'm trying to look at the other half of the story and just think, at times, I don't think the coaching's good enough. I don't like our tactics at times. I don't like that we don't have any versatility, because you're telling me that Fabinho and Thiago, you're right, with Trent and these guys, they can't play good passing football at times. They can't have better patterns of play to try and create attacks and stuff. It's just not been there. And as I say, then the motivation thing and the attitude at times, it's been poor. And if it's any other team, we look at the manager. That's what we do. We look at the manager and go, is he getting the best out of these guys? Is he, obviously he's not lost the dressing room, but this is sometimes what we look at with other teams. Has he lost the dressing rooms? Are they still playing for him? Have they got a bit tired of what he's saying? You know, or is his tactics no longer working? Does he need to change up and things? And I'm just saying, look, I love Klopp, and I'm by no means saying he needs to go anywhere. But I do feel like games this season, we should be laying some blame on him and the coaching team and just saying that simply isn't good enough. That isn't good enough. Like, we all want signings, we all want better players, but the players you had available to you this season and in these games, you should have been doing better. Yeah. And if the players have let you down, that's cool, right? Get into them and make sure they don't let you down again. But I've seen it a handful of times. That's not good enough. Like, if the players let you down on against Fulham first game of the season, right, then I'm not expecting the same performance against Everton, against Forest, against Leeds, because Klopp should have got into them. Klopp should have been telling them, look, this is the same style of game, they're going to set up the same as us, same as that previous team did. By no means do I want that attitude again, right? And I'm sure he is, but then the evidence hasn't been there in the game. So I'm just trying to highlight the point that we can make signings, right, this January, but I want to see better coaching second half of the season. You know what? We signed a midfielder, great, cool. That ain't going to solve all the problems. If we get Casado in this January, right, and you stick him in there, that ain't gonna solve all the problems. The team needs to be coached better. It needs to be playing better. And so we've got to look at Klopp and the coaching team as well and say, you improve also.
So in terms of that, Len, obviously you're saying you want better coaching. Now, if we do make signings in January and we still don't see that better coaching, then do we need to start asking the question that no Liverpool fan wants to ask?
I don't think we should be anywhere near the point of talking about whether Klopp should be here or not. I'm just saying you need to do better. Do you know, you just have to do better. I know Diaz is out. I know Jota is out. I know players have been injured, and that does mess up your training regimes, and guys have been falling away like the day before matches and stuff. I get it. It's not a great set of circumstances, but you just got to do better. This is Liverpool Football Club. Like, I need to see better performances.
I can guarantee if Jurgen Klopp weren't manager, whoever was manager, everyone would want him out right now.
Yep, facts.
I can guarantee it right now. And none of us on this panel want, maybe G, but none of us on this panel want like Klopp out, you know. No one, I'm not coming for G at all. No one wants Jurgen Klopp out, yeah? No one wants Jurgen Klopp out. We all love Jurgen, right? I want Jurgen to stay, right? But we can't sit here, like Cav is saying, and think he isn't at fault at times.
Yeah.
Of course he's at fault. I love Jurgen. I don't want him going nowhere. And I do think things will improve with the right player coming into the club. But that's a bit of a problem as well. Are we saying that Jurgen can't coach the way he wants to coach without the correct player? Because you've got to be able to adapt your coaching. You know, like we say, players have got to adapt to the style of the team that's coming into and stuff like that. And we have a go at them if they can't do it, right? Well, surely we've got to say the same for coaching and management, ain't we? So if, like, they need to change it around a bit and adapt, they've got to adapt. I mean, look at Man City this season, right? This is a mad one. I think Man City were a better team last season than they are this season, right? Mm-hmm. They went and bought the best striker in world football right now in Haaland. There's no doubt about that. The best finisher in world football. He's got like a 1-in-1 conversion rate. It's ridiculous, right? But they're nowhere near a better team. Nowhere near a better team. They're conceding chances left, right, and centre. They got, people can, even the weak, smaller teams are having chances against Man City now. And they're not controlling games as well as they did. But what's happening is they got a striker in Haaland who's just finishing games off and taking it away from everybody. But in reality, you look at City and they're not as good as a football team. But Pep's adapting a new way of playing that next season, this City team might be better. And if they're better next season and they got Haaland, then they might be unstoppable. So he's adapting his way of playing to adapt to Haaland, because I think a lot of people said it. Haaland don't really suit a Pep system, a way a Pep team wants to play. So Pep's adapting to that. And because he's adapting to that with his team, City don't look as good as they did last season, but they're still second. Yeah. But next season, they're going to be even better. I sometimes think with Jurgen, sometimes he needs to sometimes adapt to the players that are around him more than the players have to always adapt to him. And if they don't play. But I look at our team, and like Cav said, we've got players there. We shouldn't be sixth. We you got Mo Salah, you got Darwin Núñez.
Where do you think we should be? Where do you think then this season? What would be?
Well, I look at Spurs and
taking,
Newcastle, and we're better than them for squads.
Not this season. Not Newcastle. Newcastle have outperformed us in every sense.
Yeah, they're outperforming us because of the way they're playing. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Liverpool's, how many really of Newcastle's first 11 getting Liverpool's strongest 11? No,
of course. There's not that.
That's what I'm saying. So,
yeah.
Eddie Howe's, look at where Newcastle were. I've always said this about Newcastle, by the way. I don't think Newcastle had that bad of a team under Steve Bruce. Is that Steve Bruce was coaching them abysmally, right? He was coaching them. He was making players. He was making players do things they can't do. You know, Almiron ain't all of a sudden being this quality because of Eddie Howe. What he's done, he's always been a quality footballer, a very good footballer. But what Eddie Howe's done is come into the team, told him, right, you've got all this ability, right? I want you doing that on the pitch. I don't want you doing that, what you did last time on the pitch, because that's not you as a player. Go out and enjoy yourself, have a bit of creativity, have a bit of freedom. You know, do that with players, put them in the areas they should play, by the way, in the positions they should play. Give them that freedom and see what happens. Yes, they brought in some good players. I mean, Bruno Guimaraes is the one, right? You look at all the players Newcastle brought in. None of them will get in Liverpool's team apart from Bruno. All right? That's probably the only one right now. Yeah. Isaac, maybe, I don't know. But everyone else, you know, Newcastle have bought, you'd probably say only Bruno would get into Liverpool's team in the midfield. You know, Trippier ain't getting over Trent. You know, Dan Burn ain't getting in Liverpool's team. Do you know what I mean? It's just... You know, there's players there, but Eddie Howe's adapting to a style and a way that gets this Newcastle team going. Look what he did when he took over Newcastle with the same player Steve Bruce had. Do you know what I mean? And he got them going again. So he adapted to a style. You know, so you got to adapt. You got to change the way you play sometimes. And you know, Liverpool got to do that. I look at Tottenham. You know. Tottenham apparently had this great summer transfer. You look at it now and it's shit. You know, they really bought no one and did nothing. And, you know, Conte's a similar kind of manager to Klopp. It's his way or no way. Do you know what I mean? He's very similar in that structure of how he wants to play. He needs certain players to play his way. If he gets them players, Conte can be unstoppable. If Klopp gets them players and plays his way, Klopp can be unstoppable. But sometimes I feel like if you can't get them players or you've got an issue in your squad, but you want to stay up there, then you will need to adapt your coaching just for a little bit to keep you there till then you can come back round and get the players you want to then go again, if that makes sense.
You know, one question
Go on, Jay. Sorry. You go.
Oh, no. All I was going to say, sometimes I wonder, when people talk about like FSG, and listen, I don't care about FSG. Stay, go, it doesn't make any difference. It is what it is really and truly with Liverpool, because the manager's the one who's out there on the pitch. He's just got to deal with whatever he's got. But sometimes I think when we talk about like blame game, at times you can not all the time, because it's a collective at the end of the day. We win with Klopp and FSG. We lose with Klopp and FSG and the players. But sometimes you got to look at Klopp and just think, well, it's your fault for you know, signing a right winger in Elliott and putting him central midfield. It's your fault that we put Jones, who was a left wing attacking midfielder, into central midfield. It's your fault that we signed Carvalho, who's an attacking midfielder / number 10, who's now playing on the left wing. Like, that's not an FSG. We can't look at FSG and say, oh, but why? Because then you'll be complaining at the sheer fact that they signed them in the first place, when everyone looked at those deals, for example, and thought, oh, no, but, you know, that's a decent deal for Carvalho. You know, that's a decent deal, you know, for Harvey Elliott and things like that at the time. But it's Klopp who's the one who's changing things around. It's Klopp who wanted Thiago and then changed up his positioning and what he does, and what he offers, and all of these kind of things. So it's like Klopp was the one who wanted Darwin Núñez, and all of a sudden we thought we was getting a number 9, and now we're getting this kind of left winger. And stuff like that. Like, we can't always place that blame on FSG, but at the same time, we can't then place all the blame, of course, on Jurgen Klopp, because Klopp's the one who wants some of the, like, most of them, to be honest. Klopp and Pep Yinders, they're the ones who want these guys. Like, they want the players. They wanted Elliot. Like, there's how many youngsters in world football could we all four of us could sit here and probably list 30 youngsters off the back of, just off the back, that we would think, nah, this guy's like, I would love to have this kind of youngster, from your Pedris all the way down to, whoever. We could probably list 30 of them. I'm sure we'd get really far down the list before we even think of a Jones, an Elliot, a Carvalho. I don't even think we'd even name them. Maybe we would further down that list potentially if we ran through it. But Klopp's the one who wants them. Klopp is the one who sees these players and thinks they can do the job, they can do the role. So we then have to look at him, as Cav said, and rightly so. Like, and this is why I'm probably the only one who's like, nah, I'm kind of tired of Klopp. I do kind of want him to go now, because the reality is, no, but it's not in a. But the thing is, it's not even in a like a. Oh, I hate him. I want him to go. And no, it's not that at all.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, it will never ever be that. I could never do that, because this is the guy who brought me my first ever Premier League. So of course there's going to be that love there. But the reality is, he is the one who's seeing whatever we're not seeing. Remember, we're all talking about we've got 3 quality midfielders, and we don't like Elliot potentially, and some people don't want to see your Arthur Mellos and all these kind of signings. Remember, Klopp is the one who sees them. We don't know what Klopp's thinking. For all we know, he's more than happy with what he doesn't mind. Ox, he doesn't mind Keita, he doesn't mind Jones, he doesn't mind, like, we don't know. Obviously, we're just playing guessing games, and we're just being fans, and we have our opinions from what we're seeing on the football pitch. But it's Klopp and Pep Yinders. Those are obviously the two main ones. They're the ones who see it. Pep Yinders, we heard it already. He wanted Gakpo. I don't even know if Klopp really wanted Gakpo. It just seemed like it was more of a recommendation by his assistant manager that, hey, this guy's, the missing piece, and, we've got Diaz injured and blah, blah, blah. So cool, let's get in Gakpo. The price is really, really good. So let's bring him in. So then I'm just like, I'm almost at that point where I'm just like, I don't even think giving Klopp 200 million or whatever is going to realistically change his way of thinking. Yes, he might be able to get in a Jude Bellingham, but Klopp's the type of guy I think that would get in a Jude Bellingham and just leave it at that, and just say, I'll bring back Tyler Morton, I'll bring Bajcetic more into the squad. We still got Elliot, we still got Jones, we still got, all these other players, and just leave it at that. Whereas we're thinking, I want Jude, but I also want another like Caicedo or Amrabat or whoever else we've been linked with. That's what we're thinking as fans. But we've got to look at it. Klopp is the one. And at the end of the day, it's been 7 years. And mentally as well, this team has, fallen short on so many occasions in different, not just the Premier League, Champions League, the Europa League. We lost the League Cup final. Like, we've just failed at so many different points. It does come to a point eventually where you do actually just need a new voice, someone with just new ideas to kind of move the club forward. I've always said this. Klopp is the guy who took us back to the top. That he's done that now. He's put us back where people are talking about us. We're one of the better teams in Europe. We're not languishing, even though we are 6th, but we're not languishing 8th being our like best position where we're really, really happy with that. We're all angry that we're 6th, but I feel like he's kind of got to that now, and it's almost, you do need someone who can now put you into that position of, okay, you're at the top now, you're there now, you're one of the teams in Europe that people are going to be afraid of when they come up against them, etc. Now we need a manager who kind of comes in, and this is just a winning culture. Like, we do not accept second. Second is, if we finish second, we need to rip up the playbook. We need to get in. We need to, sell some of these players. Then we need to get rid of this guy because clearly he's not good enough to get us to that first point, position. A bit like what Manchester City do. Yes, I know it requires money, but at the same time, it does require ruefulness from the manager to be able to see these kind of things. Jamie, you said it before. at the end of the day, Jordan Henderson's what? Yes, I know. I agree with Cav. I think he played pretty well for England in the World Cup, and I do think his performances this season, in my opinion, have actually been a bit better than, say, a Thiago overall. But there's way too many stinkers in there where you're just like, Jesus Christ, man, like this is really, really bad, but you're still here and we've got no replacement for you. Fabinho, you're declining, but that's not on you. You're a human being. I expect you to decline at some point. If that just happens to be now, whatever, I don't care, but we've got no replacement for you. Thiago, we've got no replacement for you. The replacement is Elliott and Jones and Carvalho, players that Klopp sees as the ones to take over. Now I'm questioning a little bit. I'm like, even forget, we know that we've replaced our front three, so to speak, in terms of Mane, Firmino and Salah, in terms of we've got a new front three. Obviously, give them time, they might get there. But I'm not looking at that front three and thinking they'll ever hit those heights. I'm looking at that front three just thinking maybe, like, they've got no real experience. Mane, Firmino and Salah had all had experience anyway. They were literally just needed to get into that next zone. These three, they're not in that position. They're in the position of, we don't even know what's going to happen in the next 2 years. We're hoping Núñez will be good. We think Gakpo will be all right. Diogo Jota might be the only one where you're thinking, yeah, he'll be all right. But I don't think he'll be world class. I just think, yeah, he'll be good. You know, he'll be a decent player, but not like what the front three that we used to have. So I just think that all eyes are on Klopp. Like I said, give Klopp the money. All eyes are going to be on him, and he's going to have to win that Premier League and Champions League, or one of the two next season. But at the same time, do you trust him with the money? And that's my rant over.
This thing, the G just touched on there. Well, Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp says we don't want to be the best, but we want to beat the best. No, I'm
Exactly.
sorry. I want to be the best.
Exactly.
Why can we not be the best? Why do we always have to beat the best? No, people should beat us because we are the best.
Exactly.
We're Liverpool Football Club. We deserve better than this. We're sitting sixth in the league. We deserve better than this. We don't want to go back to the days where we had like Roy Hodgson. We don't. Back in the 90s, we're watching other people win leagues and we were winning jack shit. I don't want that anymore. Call me greedy, but I'm too used to winning stuff now, and I don't want that to stop.
Agree.
Yes, we'll come to a point where I have to look at Jurgen Klopp. Maybe. G's probably right. Maybe that is what we need to start looking at. But unfortunately, I don't want to leave. There's too many fans out there don't want to leave either.
Of course.
But G has a very valid point.
Can I just add to G's point about, do we trust Klopp with the money, right? If we look at the summer just went, we spent a lot of money on Núñez and we brought in Carvalho and Ramsey. Carvalho and Ramsey, right? It was always going to be multiple year project for them guys. Okay, so we technically brought in one forward. We got Arthur Melo, but as he revealed earlier in the week, Liverpool were talking to him throughout the summer. Okay, he had numerous options available to him. Liverpool were there. As soon as I think it was Henderson that got the injury, Liverpool just made the phone call to the agent and were like, yeah, we're going to go forward with it. And he came in. But Liverpool were looking at him all summer. He said that himself. Okay. We now look at our squad and go, and people are saying, we needed investment and it's on FSG, but the investment was made. Now, I absolutely love Núñez, right? And I'm so pleased we've got him. But just to talk about G's point, Klopp and the scouts identify these players. No one gets signed unless it's signed off by Klopp, right? So whether he wants them, right, or not, he has the final say. Or at least he has such an important say that if he doesn't want them, they don't come in. So it's fair to say that these are Klopp signings, okay? I love Núñez, as I say, but we spent big money. And it might have been wise because Cody Gakpo revealed earlier in the week that he thought he was going United in the summer and it was tough for him at the start of the season with PSV because he thought he should have had a bigger move previously and that Liverpool were talking to him also. Liverpool probably should have signed Gakpo instead of Núñez in the summer for the same fee, right? And then spent more money on the replacement right back in the midfield.
How dare you?
I'm not saying that's. Wait, I'm not saying because of my love for Nunes. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. But just to support G's argument, we might be in a better position if that's what they did, and that does come down to Klopp. We can't say it's FSG because the money was spent. The money was spent. It just wasn't spent well enough. That's the trouble.
You're bang on. Let me just read you something here. So I will say this about right. Rival fans do hate us talking about money we spend because they think it's bullshit, right? Rival fans actually think it's bullshit. Rival fans actually say Liverpool spend more money than people like that. When like right, there's another 40 million spent on Gapco. I thought he had no money. You know, rival fans think we talk bullshit when we say we don't spend money. Yeah, they actually think it's a laugh. They think it's a joke, right? Let me read you that to you. Liverpool's 10 most expensive signings ever. 1, Darwin Núñez. 2, Virgil van Dijk. 3, Alisson. 4, Naby Keita. 5, Luis Diaz. 6, Diogo Jota. 7, Cody Gakpo. 8, Mohamed Salah. 9, Fabinho. And 10, Ibrahimo Konate. They're Liverpool's most expensive transfer signings ever. When they're like so Darwin's price will eventually be 85 million. Virgil 75 million, Alisson 65 million, Naby Keita 52 million, Luis Diaz 50 million, Jota 45 million, Gakpo 44 million, Salah 43 million, Fabinho 43 million, Konate 36 million. Right? That is Liverpool's top 10. That's all under FSG. Yep. That's all under FSG. So when people say when we say, oh, we don't spend money, we sell to buy and all that sort of stuff. Rival fans laugh at it and go, well, you might be sell to buy, but a lot of teams are sell to buy. All this myth that Liverpool, the only sell to buy team in the world, by the way, is ridiculous. A lot of teams sell to buy. What you're going to see West Ham massively in trouble, right? They've spent a lot of money in 2 years and not sold anyone. If they don't get European football this season, like I said at the beginning of the season, they're in massive trouble. Right? Because they're going to have to offload all their debts, right? Nottingham Forest want to buy more players in January to the 107 they bought in the summer, right?
They're going down.
If they get relegated, you're not going to see Forest again, right?
Yeah.
Chelsea are eventually going to have to sell players to make the money back. Manchester City, who are the richest team in this league for the last few years, still sell players to make money. Their profits ain't always massive. Look at this season; they actually sold more than they bought. So, we can't pretend Liverpool are the only ones that sell to buy. A lot of teams are. You have to make sure that you don't get in trouble because if you have a bad season, it only takes one bad season. If you have one bad season, and there's you spent like 400 million, you've sold nothing, you've made no money in 12 months. And you spent 400 million, you have one bad year, you could be really in trouble. That is why Man United have been in trouble for the last few years because they're spending. Man United don't sell anyone, and then now they want to change that. That's why they want Michael Edwards because they need to start making money back. The pitch dry at the moment. There's rumours now that United can't afford to buy anyone this January. They need loan deals because they spent so much money. They've not made no money back. So you have to. I'm not all so the sell to buy thing. So what rival fans will say is like, yeah, you sold Coutinho for 140 million. That's great business. No, that should never have happened, right? But it did. The owners still gave them all the money to spend. They didn't have to. They still went and bought Alisson for 65 million, and at the time broke the world record for a goalkeeper. Yeah. Went and bought 75 million for Virgil van Dijk at the time, a world record for a centre back. We can't sit here and say that they don't spend money. Yeah, they don't spend it out of their own pocket and just go, right, let's go and get Virgil 75 million and stuff like that because that's just not the way they work. And I'm fine with it. It's not the way they work. But they still spend the money. A lot of players, a lot of teams, they get the money and they don't give all the money to the manager to go and spend. So we can't sit here and pretend we don't spend money. And because rival fans laugh at it. I mean, I remember when I was watching a Coppish video, I think it was last year or so, or 2 years ago maybe now, and he had the Arsenal boys on there, and they're talking about an upcoming Liverpool-Arsenal game, and they were laughing at the fact that Liverpool don't spend because they were talking about we don't spend money, we don't spend this and that, and all, and they're going, what are you on about? You spend millions and millions. You know, where did Alisson come from? Where did Virgil come from? Where did Salah come from? Where did Mane come from? You know, they built that team. Yeah, we sold players, but we still spent a lot of money on them players to come in. No one told FSG and Jurgen Klopp to go and buy Alisson for 65 million. No, there's other goalkeepers out there. No one said go and buy Virgil for 75 million. There's other defenders out there. Went and broke world records. So we have got a chill on the fact that we don't spend money. I think because
and
the
I think the trouble is, and a few of the guys have mentioned it in the chat, is that there are clubs in this league that spend a lot more than us, and that is fair. You know, we often look at Man City and people say, oh yeah, they got Haaland in, and that was an astronomical fee, despite what the records will show. Or people like to say it's 50 million. It wasn't. We know all about that. And people say like, oh, fullbacks, they could afford to spend 50 million on fullbacks. If they don't work out, they can replace them. And that which is true, right? But they also made shrewd signings in Julian Alvarez and Akanji, and you know they're also good. The trouble is, I don't like it when people, and I'm not saying this is a level playing field, but people use that Man City thing as a bit of a yardstick and like, oh yeah, but they can afford to replace him next summer. If they don't like their goalkeeper, they're going to afford to replace him next summer. Yeah, but that's poor from them that they didn't sign the right person the first time round. So that should be the yardstick. The same method applies for each club. You make the right signing the first time, you know, and if you mess up, okay, yes, there's a club in Man City that can go out and replace it, and we perhaps can't. But still, don't make the mistake the first time. Do you know what I mean? Go out and sign better, because we do spend money. You know, I'd love for us to spend more. I really would, and I'd love to have the funds that the other teams have. But at the end of the day, we spent money on these players, and for a large part of the Klopp's tenure, it's been good and it's been successful. We're now at a point in time where I feel like we just need to be as good as we were with these signings, because the money is there. We've seen it. We've signed Gakpo, and you've named the other names. The players just need to be the right players. That's the thing. You know, Gakpo comes in at 37 million. Everyone's like, it's a brilliant buy and stuff. Well, it's not if he's terrible. It's not if he's not right for Liverpool and doesn't fit the system, and our attack actually falters.
What the hell was that? Is that new? Is that new?
On the timeline.
No. If that's like research, Jesus Christ, that tells you everything.
John W, you know, just chilling at home, playing some beat with badly.
Just playing things. One thing I will say though is obviously this is just more like by the way, everything again, as always, like I agree with what Cav was just saying there, and just to kind of defend myself, because I know people are like, oh no, you know, you want Klopp out and it's this, and I see a lot of you in the live chat as well, you know, talking about, you know, Liverpool and Klopp and how, you know, if when Klopp leaves, we're going to be languishing in 8th and all these kind of hypotheses that everyone's kind of coming up with. If Klopp's done his job properly, by the time that he's left, we'll be in the same positions that we already occupy. I don't see why we should all of a sudden go from being a top 2 team to just falling down to like being a team who's like in 8th, 9th. Like, I don't think it's that deep, to be honest with you. If Klopp's done his job properly, i.e. via recruitment and just leaving the team, you know, in a very, very good, you know, position. Because you look at Manchester City, regardless of how much money that they've spent, look how many managers they've gone through anyway to get to Pep Guardiola in the first place. They've had your Mancinis, your Pellegrinis, and whoever else to kind of come in and put them. And I feel like the way that they've done it as well, they've done it in those stages whereby you get someone in who just knows about winning in Roberto Mancini. Cool, you know, things might not necessarily work out. I don't know what the whole end thing was with him, but cool, he goes. Then they've got Emmanuel Pellegrini who comes in. Again, another manager who knows how to win. So you're keeping that tradition up. And then eventually, when you can, if there's one available, in Pep Guardiola, obviously there was, you then get the complete manager. You then get the guy who, this is the guy that you want to kind of see your future with for a little while. This is the guy who's going to kind of build the club really from the bottom up, you know, and get a method of playing that the next manager comes in and it's just continuation, you know, of that. So now their next manager, whoever that is, I feel like it should just continue, but Liverpool should also be in that same position. I don't think if Klopp was to leave, all of a sudden we're just going to be just eighth, because, you know, then that's going back to what it was in the 70s and 80s and even before that, you know, your Shankleys and stuff like that. You know, Klopp's not on that level. You know what I mean? He's not that good. So if he's not that good, surely there must be other managers out there in the world of football who can come into the team and just get the team going, getting back to just what we were, to be honest with you. I think that's just what it is for me. It's getting the team back to where we were and potentially just going in a new direction, a tactic that works, you know, that's sustainable, that we don't need to necessarily worry about Harvey Elliott. Who knows? We don't know that if Harvey Elliott was playing in a whole different tactic and a whole different style, that we would even notice a drop-off if he came into the team, or a Jones, or a Carvalho. You know, we shouldn't notice these things, but we do because of the current regime that we're under at the moment. And I think that with Klopp and Pep Yildiz and the coaching staff, I just feel like I said, they've just been very naive in thinking that, again, it's 7 years, we're just going to go again. We came second last season, we missed out on the Champions League, we missed out on the Premier League, we're just going to go again. And thinking, yeah, that's it, we just go again. And sometimes it's not just about going again. You know, we can even talk about, refreshing this midfield, but I feel like everyone's got this idea that we sign Caicedo and that's it. Like, all of a sudden, Liverpool are challenging. We're going to be in this same position that we'll be in with a Caicedo. Like, it's not going to change that much. I don't even feel like the improvement is going to be so major anyway, because it's in isolation. What we need is a collective refreshment. We don't just need one midfielder, because that doesn't really change anything. We got in Gakpo, all that did was just replace Luis Diaz. That's it. There was no improvement on that because Diaz is injured anyway. So we're just replacing that guy for this guy. Do you know what I mean? And we still got Diogo Jota. So it's about the collective refreshment, I feel, anyway, just in my opinion, that we need, as opposed to just, let's get in one guy now and then that's it, we're done and dusted. No, like, we need a proper refresh, you know, and we need Klopp to finally just kind of say, you know what, maybe I play with a number 10. I've got about 3 of them. So maybe I just use one of them in their actual position, you know, with a Carvalho. You know, I would love to see Carvalho in a 10. I would love to see a Jones in a 10. I would even want to see a Harvey Elliott in a 10, because I feel like all 3 of them can all play there. But we're shoehorning them into centre midfield and left wing. And when they don't perform well, myself, Jamie, Cav, when we're doing the reviews and stuff like that, and everyone else, obviously we're gonna get onto them. We're going to look, oh, he was rubbish. Oh, he was crap. Why have you got him on left wing? He can't do that left wing role because we require a certain type of player. He's not a left winger. Let's put him in the position that maybe can work out. And then we might even see a Carvalho, who many people tipped to get Young Player of the Year at the beginning of the season because we knew of his qualities. Maybe we might see Elliott all of a sudden adding to his kind of game where he can get goals. Maybe he can be, I'm not saying on this level, so please don't shoot me, but the Odegaard of what I feel like we're almost missing is that kind of link man between the midfield and the attack, that guy who's just in that middle, who can just help out both sides of the game kind of thing, the midfield and obviously the attack moving forward. We're seeing how that works. Again, I'm not saying just copy other teams and stuff like that, but we're doing the same thing. 4-3-3. We've been doing it for years, like years. And I think like I know what we're going to do. I can sit there and watch a game and literally telegraph the first 10 passes. I know if we kick off in a game, we'll pass it back. We're going to hoof it long. We're waiting for that second ball. 8 times out of 10, we don't win it anyway. So the other team's going to get possession back regardless. And then we set up in our bank and then we move from there. You know, we could all probably sit here and do that. We need to stop being so predictable. We do need to change things up. And again, Trent, who knows? I don't know. Put Trent in midfield. I don't even know, but it's just do something different to be able to get the best out of the players that you've got. Because at the moment, we cannot sit here and lie and say these guys are crap, because they're not. But the tactics that are being used at this moment does not work for the team. We need to change it. And at the moment, that falls on Klopp. That's got nothing to do with FSG. Buying a midfielder is not going to help that if Klopp continues playing the same way. What difference does that make? If Caicedo comes in for Henderson, for example, yes, you might get potential improvement on the pitch, but is it going to be that vast? Is it going to be so vast where you're like, oh my goodness, Liverpool are like a completely different team? It's not going to be like that. Do you know what I mean? So things do need to change as a collective, as opposed to just bringing a guy in and praying that, you know, he does his job.
Big up, G. I've got some super chats to read, guys. Then we're going to go on to the Brentford game tomorrow. I just want to tell everyone in live chat right now, look, G loves his club, yeah. He loves Liverpool Football Club. He's just having his opinion on where he thinks Liverpool can get better. It's just all of us. We've all got different opinions, you know. We don't always all agree with each other. We all love the football club. We just want the football club to get better. So I love Jurgen. I want Jurgen to stay. John Cav, G. We all want Jurgen to stay. We all want everything to get better. We want improvements in the football club. We want Klopp to look at and go like, I need to improve in certain areas as well, and just get a little bit better at the team. You know, there's things all over the pitch everyone can go from. It's just not. FSG need to do better in the transfer market. Everyone needs to do better. But at the end of the day, we all just love Liverpool Football Club. And everyone in the chat loves Liverpool Football Club, if you're a Liverpool fan anyway in the chat. And you'll have different opinions to some of the guys in the chat. You'll have different opinions from us. But the end goal is we just want Liverpool to be number one. And that is the end goal. So when none of us want him out, that out, this out, that out. I mean, probably 99% of everyone wants FSG out. But, you know, in all, we love the football club. I have opinions. John has opinions. G has opinions. Cabs has opinions. The people in the chat have opinions. Right or wrong. No one is hating on anybody here. So big up to everyone in the chat. Zabiri, big up to you, my friend. Thank you very much. It's a new year, people. Let's bring a new attitude. Invest in the club. So when the club makes money, you can make money as well. That's the gift for your children who might support another club. Big up Zabiri. Big up Webby as well, who's apparently in my local. And the fact that Webby knows that's my local worries me. But
I was going to say.
Big up Webby. Big up Webby. And big up Leverson. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Hope you had a good one. Right, guys. Let's go for it. Let's talk about the game tomorrow. Brentford away. I couldn't think of a harder game for Liverpool right now, actually, just after New Year. Away to Brentford. Brentford are a difficult team to play, as we know. Thomas Frank over there has got he's playing really well. He's doing really well at Brentford. I think they might have a bit of a I think this second season is not going to be as high as their first season, but they got Ivan Toney. Well, the people are saying Tony's not going to play in this game. I'm not sure, but if he is available,
I've got him in my fantasy Premier League, you know, so he kind of needs to.
If he is available,
Jay, you just reminded me. I not do my fantasy team, and I've got him as well.
I did it just before I came on the show because I forgot about it for the last like 3 weeks. So
Is he got his ban for that betting stuff already?
No,
that's unresolved. But he was stretched off last game.
Yeah, he's injured.
Oh, was he stretched off? Oh, right. Yeah. They're saying here no Ivan Toney. So if there's no Ivan Toney, Liverpool, that's their main asset, their main strength out of their team. But with Brentford, we know it's not an easy game, especially on their ground. Obviously, Gakpo is a Liverpool player now, by the way. It's the 1st of January. He's officially a Liverpool player now. Where's me popping with my poppers? But yeah, he's officially a Liverpool player now. So he can play tomorrow. He can be in the squad. I don't think Klopp's going to throw him straight in, guys, because I believe he had the World Cup, and between going out of the World Cup with the Netherlands to now, I don't think he's played any football. So I don't think he'd play. But John, I'll start with you. Do you think he will be in the in the squad, or do you think he'll be watching, ready for the FA Cup game?
No, it definitely in the squad. Now I think about it, the last Dutch player we signed was Virgil van Dijk, and we threw him straight in.
That we did.
Are we sure that he's going to be registered in time? Because
the
bank holiday and all of that,
the
isn't
paperwork
it?
all went through. As far as I know, the paperwork went through. It's all done.
James Pearce and all that said he's available for Monday.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
So-
Because there's a suggestion that the guys will be out of the office at the FA because it's a bank holiday and that they just wouldn't be able to process it.
They ever in the office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he is available. What James Pearce and Paul Joyce have said he's available to play Monday. So
Yeah.
I think when was his medical? It was the day after Boxing Day, wasn't it? So yeah. So if it's the day after that, he wouldn't have been available. So
yeah.
So
it's
yeah,
not too bad.
I wouldn't be surprised if he started. I wouldn't. I don't think I want him to start, to be honest with me, because you're putting too much pressure on him, starting him very first game. So I would bring him off the bench for the last 20 minutes and expect him to come on and score a goal. So I do. They keep the record going. Virgil van Dijk, first game for Liverpool, scored a goal. Capo, Dutch, first game for Liverpool. Let's keep the record going, score a goal. But no, I do. I look forward to seeing him. I can't wait to see him in the Liverpool shirt because this guy really does excite me. So I think he's a quality signing, and just to get one over Man United is even better.
I'm trying to work out if he is actually registered. A lot of people saying he ain't, but I swear Paul Joyce said he was available for Monday's game.
I think he is available, but Klopp, I'm sure I heard Klopp saying that Monday will come too soon. I'm pretty sure he said that.
So he's available, but I don't think he can. Would he be in the squad though? I mean, I think he's on
squad. I can see that.
I think too soon. I think he's going to mean like starting from the off. Squad guys, you think he'd be in the squad on the bench, taking up one of the bench places?
Yeah, I think if like the paperwork and all of that admin stuff's done, then yeah, he'll be on the bench. Like let's face it, like guys, he's been playing like in the World Cup, he's been training. It needs must like that position. We've got Ox and Carvalho as our options. I mean, like Ox has played the past 2 games, so he might choose to rotate that position and put Carvalho in there, but. Like it's not as if we got blessed with like options in attack. So yeah, why not have him on the bench and then bring him on to get him some minutes, give him his first start in the FA Cup, and then if he performs well and he does okay, he's straight into the starting.
Don't you think it's weird? Yeah, we always seem to get like left wing was never like a position that you know I didn't even think about it like at the beginning of the season, and then all of a sudden. Just injury. Like same with midfield. Like midfield, if like Keita and Ox wasn't so injury prone throughout their whole career, you wouldn't even really think about these kind of positions. Like I just find it weird. It's always like one position. As soon as one guy gets injured, it's like everyone just seems to just falter from that. But like if Trent was to get injured, Jesus Christ, I can only imagine Ramsey would all of a sudden become unavailable, and we'd have to play Milner there. Like for the rest of the season or whatever. Like it just always seems like we have one position get injured and then everybody gets injured. I don't know. It's weird.
The situation with Jota and Diaz is like hugely unfortunate as well. Like it's not.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's always us. Like I don't even get like how we get these kind of like I know we're saying that these injuries are not happening or the Jota's happened in the game against can't remember who it was, but I remember him getting injured in that game. But I look at some of these injuries and I just think to myself, either we're not doing something right or the type of players that we're playing, it's just too strenuous on their body. Some are genuinely unfortunate. But, you know, some can, in my opinion, be handled a bit better over, you know, especially rehab. The rehab is the one where I'm sorry, but a player should not be coming back from an injury and getting injured again. Like, unless you've done something crazy in training, Diaz shouldn't be coming back, being rushed back, and then he's injured again. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm like, what the hell happened there?
Do you know what? Actually, G, you raise a good point, right? Just made me think of it. Then Diaz comes back, and people say, "Oh, he wasn't brought back too early, or whatever, this and that. He was fine and he was ready to go again." Well, he pulled up straight away, so that kind of suggests he wasn't ready. And then you look at Jota. Jota pulled up, got that calf injury in like the last minutes of that game. And I can't remember what game it was. Remind me, chat. It's just not in my head. And he was like, I remember that game. He was everywhere. And I was thinking at the time, I was like, take him off. Just take him off, because this guy's put so much running in. And obviously, he's just had the hamstring injury in the summer. Missed, obviously, the World Cup and stuff, didn't he? And he was everywhere. And I was like, might need to take this guy off. And then he pulls up. And you're like, oh, come on, man. Look at I know everyone works hard in our team, but look at the running he did in that game. Just come back off an injury. Like, he's in the red zone. Like, you've got to be aware of it and think, I just need to protect him. So both of them guys, I think, probably not preventable, but we kind of asked for it in some respects in both the situations. Then you look at Jones, who's probably third choice left winger, or at least he played out there against Napoli, didn't he, earlier in the season? He's also out, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
And then you look at like Thiago, and you think Thiago's a guy, like, he gets injured. It's like he comes back, but then he's not. Either we're rushing him back, I don't know. Like, I generally don't know. But then he gets injured again, during recovery, and I'm just like, what are you doing? I don't quite understand. Like, what is it you guys are doing over there that players just seem to be just, not really right at times? Konate is another one, to be fair, as well. Actually, I worry when he gets injuries, because when he gets injuries, I always think to myself that he's a guy that once he gets an injury, you just got to manage that properly, because over time, that might become an issue, with someone like Konate. He's one I'm watching out for in the future with injuries, because I think if you're not careful, you fall into that Matic category. Matic wasn't a guy who picked up injuries at Schalke, not to the extent that he's picking them up, obviously, here now. And all of a sudden, now Matic's got to be managed in a certain way. And I'm just looking at Konate, just hoping that, because he's so sick, I want him to play all the time. I want him to be like the Virgil, where we can just rely upon him at all times, kind of thing. And I'm just, hoping that he doesn't pick up an injury, because if he does, it might just get a bit problematic in the future.
For the guy his size and how quick he is, you've got to be really careful, because, like, Jesus Christ, he's physically, he's big, he's tall, he's strong. He must weigh a ton, but he shifts as well so quick.
Yeah,
like, you kind of do think that he's a guy that, like you say, Jay, he's got to be properly managed and recovered well, and things like that. Because how many players have you seen that have all of the attributes he has that aren't? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, how many
It's
players
true.
are that much of a physical, like, sort of specimen? Like, even like, I'll put it down to like Haaland. Haaland's big, tall, strong, pretty quick as well. But this guy conserves himself, because he probably knows, look, if I'm sprinting for 90 minutes, I'm just going to break down, because you just can't have everything. And I think one of the answers, G, without going too much into it now, is, look, what do we always say? Intensity is our identity. Well, intensity in football, whilst it's great on the pitch and stuff, the byproduct of it is probably injuries.
It's true.
Okay,
it's true. I agree.
Right, let's pick this team. Do you know Bobby's back?
I'm not sure, actually. I didn't. Is Klopp done his press conference? It's pretty
Not
much
yet.
No,
I don't think so.
not.
No, not yet.
I think he might be out, Jay. I'll double check, but I had a feeling that he was.
Have a look. See if
I don't know. Steve said me wrong. Bobby's back for this game.
Okay.
Yeah, I think. Let me have a look. Let's start off with the defense, and then I'll hopefully have it.
Yeah, have a look for us, my man. So, obviously, we're going to put Ali in goal. I mean, that's the most obvious. Is he the first? Obviously, you always get the first name on the team sheet. Obviously, it's Allison, because he's Allison.
Why not Adrian?
Yeah, why not Adrian? But who do you think apart from Allison? Who apart from Allison is Klopp's first name on the team sheet?
Van Dijk.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I think Virgil and Mo, I think, are the Alisson
Yeah,
works
Mo
for
is another one.
I think
Mo's
the three, and I think everyone works around it. I think that's how he looks at it.
But I think if Liverpool's front three was to like, say like Gakpo comes in, Diaz comes back, Jota comes back, and we play a team that doesn't have Mo, if they form wise start to perform better, I could see like Mo dropping out. Whereas Van Dijk, I don't see any situation where he would ever come out of the team, like at all.
No.
Like I don't even think Klopp would even dare to try a defense without Van Dijk if he could help it.
I've been saying it as well. Like I know Virgil might not be the player he was. That the year Virgil had when he would, let's face it, he should have won the Ballon d'Or. He lost it by 3 points to Messi, but that was one of the best years of a centre back I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that was just so good. Keeping that level is very difficult, and his levels dropped a bit. But the thing is, his levels dropped a bit, but he's still exceptional. And you see the difference of our team when he don't play. You know, we're nowhere near as good. I don't think we win that Aston Villa game if Virgil weren't playing. I really don't. And the downfall of Matip in the last couple of games as well. I think Matip's been awful in the last few games. It really has.
Is Matip older than Van Dijk?
I think they're the same age.
Oh, okay. I didn't know how old.
I think they're the same age. Are we putting Konate back in? Is Konate coming into this game now?
I'm keeping Matip.
Because Matip,
I would say Konate.
Shocking. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Matip's played 2 games back to back. The games have been relatively close together as well. I think just for freshness, I'd bring Konate in alone. But then quality, guys, unreal.
What I want Liverpool to start doing is stop rotating this back four so much. This back four gets rotated so much.
That's why I would have stuck with Matip.
Yeah, I see you thinking that. My thing with Matip, I just think he's starting. He's making a lot of mistakes lately. He was shocking the other day, and I think Konate was bought for the future, obviously, but he's just so good at the moment that I think he should be Virgil's partner right now going forward for the rest of the season. We're
going to need him in a game like this anyway, I think.
Yeah, he's big. He can bully. He can run. Yeah,
especially if Tony's playing, you definitely need that. You're like 100% you need it.
I think, do you know what? In terms of performance, right? And it's a bit of a strange thing to say because like the World Cups has happened and stuff. I think he's probably the most informed player at Liverpool right now. I think I think he perhaps is. He's the guy that's stepping on the pitch and has like, that confidence you get when you are playing well. I think he has the most out of anyone. And
when I tell you how good Konate is, rival fans will like him. That tells you everything there. That tells you everything right there. And even when Gunnar Lee said Konate was better than Saliba, there you go. I mean, that tells you.
Seal
of approval.
That tells you everything right there.
Do you not mean Liverpool Lee?
Yeah, Liverpool Lee. I like Lee. I like Lee. Lee's a good guy. Right. Virgil and Konate, left back, because I don't know what's happening with Robbo.
He came off injured, didn't he?
He came off injured, but he don't look like he was. I don't know. We ain't heard nothing yet.
I don't think he's out, but I don't think Jurgen Klopp will risk him.
Yeah, I feel like Tsimikas might actually play. That's actually a good shout. Tsimikas could play. Because we don't want to burn Robbo again, and then we get the crappy Robbo that we've been getting for ages.
Yeah, thing is, Tsimikas is a decent replacement. It's not like it's a god awful replacement. He's not as good as Robbo, but he's still a very good left back.
Up against Mbeumo though, that might be tricky. That might be a tricky game.
That will be. I think Robbo's a better defender than Tsimikas.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm just going to put Trent in because there's no point even discussing that because it's Trent. I've got to say, I'm going to big Trent up. I thought Trent was excellent against Leicester defensively. I thought he was very, very good against Leicester defensively. He never got past one. He never got past on one-on-ones. His one-on-one defending is actually quite good. If you go and look at his stats for his one-on-one defending, I think he's number one out of all the English right backs for one-on-one defending. We all know what. He even defended the back post. I remember doing the watch long and Pac-Man almost died of shock. Because he actually defended the back post, which is Trent's weakness. But yeah, Trent defending. It just shows what it shows with Trent is that Trent has got it in his locker to defend.
Yeah.
He can do it. But what I think because Trent knows he's got so much ability going forward, he wants to rely more on that side of his game.
Yeah.
And I think Trent at times brain wanders in 90-minute matches a little bit sometimes. And, that's only a little thing. But I like Trent. I mean, I can not like Trent.
I think, though, with Trent, though, I do think this season he has been given a reduced role. Well, since the start of the season anyway, he's been given a reduced role. Like, if you're noticing, most of our attacks are coming down the left now. Before, it was always Trent, Salah, always. Like, that was like just what we used to do and stuff like that. And then Trent obviously would do his balls into the box occasionally. Now it's more Trent will do a lot more balls into the box and a lot more crossfield passes, but the link up with Salah is not as much. I think that's just because of Darwin Núñez, obviously him being such a threat. We'd rather have the ball on that side of the pitch, but we've shifted it now from Mo Salah being the guy that we give the ball to, meaning Trent doesn't need to be used so often. And now you're seeing Robbo, like Robbo's getting how many bloody, chances is Robbo getting to put the ball in the box and stuff? Like he's getting loads, way more than Trent. Way more than
I've got to say, I know we're going to come to Darwin in a minute because he plays. We all know that. But Darwin and Robbo have a good chemistry on that left-hand side.
I told you, it's better than Diaz and Robbo. I told you before.
Gee, you and me are the only ones who're saying he's a winger.
Yeah, I know. We get shouted at every bloody week. Like, oh, he's not. He's a striker. I'm like, guys, he's literally showing you that he is a good winger. Like, let him just stay there. Let him do that. We can have a battle between him and Diaz on the left. I'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Darwin, when we get to Darwin, but yeah, I mean, his link up play with Robbo on that left hand side is better than Diaz's. It's a fact. Right, let's get to the midfield. Yeah, this should be fun. Right. Who are we playing, guys? Give me 3 names. Let's go for it. John, give me 3 names.
Thiago, Hendo, and Harvey Elliott injured, isn't he?
I don't know. He's another one. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Yeah, Harvey. Harvey? I don't think Harvey got injured, did he? He just got
he rolled over.
Yeah, like a little knock. Yeah, but nothing serious.
He got a kick in the shin, didn't he? A kick in the shin, by the way.
Thiago, Fab, and Hendo.
Yeah,
I don't even know about Fab either, do we?
No,
because he just had a baby.
His wife popped that out. He should be all right now. There's no excuses now. Right, I was back to work the next day. So
yeah, I mean, you don't have a professional football job, but I hear you. Yeah.
Get back to work, my man. Get back to work. It's all good.
You never know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you know what? Exactly. I'm talking like as if I know. You're right.
Get back to work, Fab. Get back to work. Who are we putting either side of Fab?
Like Aaron's comment, Fabinho is pregnant. Well, he's definitely not in then.
Yeah, well. You know what? Yeah. I would actually go Fabinho, Thiago, and Keita.
Keita's not a bad shirt,
I would actually play Keita.
What John has just said. I think Keita's got to start starting games.
I mean, if he's going to stay here, just bloody start. Just use him while he's here.
I think you've got to start starting Naby. And I will say, when Naby's come on, he's looked impressive. So start him. I mean, it all depends what Klopp's looking at. Does he prefer Naby coming off the bench at the moment? No, because the substitute bench is absolutely pathetic at the moment. Does he just prefer? Does he prefer him coming off the bench? I'm not sure. Do you want
to know mine, Jay?
Yeah, go on.
You're just going to disregard it straight away. But this is what I would play. Assuming Fabinho isn't there, Thiago, Bacecic, Henderson.
Yeah, I think that's what Edward said as well. Stefan Iniesta,
Stefan's shown me more than Naby in the few minutes that they've both played in recent weeks.
Yeah. Do you know my only worry? I'm with you on the Stefan thing. I've been saying it now. He should be a squad player. He's in the squad now. I don't want him to see him playing under 23 football anymore. He's obviously too good for it. Just keep him in the squad. So if he is a squad player now, you're probably going to have to start playing him soon. My only worry is that, is a game against Brentford away suited to Stefan? Would you rather play Stefan at the moment in home games? To get.
I get what you mean. Yeah, I get what you mean by that.
Instead of playing in away games where it's going to be tougher for him against, a good Brentford side.
Brentford are not easy, we can't disregard them.
That are big, strong, physical, quick side. Do you want to play Stefan in that sort of game? I wouldn't mind playing. If we were playing Brentford at home, I'd actually play. Yeah, Stefan playing in that midfield at home. You get a bit more protection because he's at home. You've got the crowd behind him and all that. And Brentford will play a different kind of way away from home than they will at home. I'm not sure. But I hear I do hear that. Savage in the chat. Big up my man. Is that Cav eating oats? One by one.
Hey, Sav, you need to update that. Profile picture.
Look at the Will Smith photo, man.
At least put him this season shirt
in the
on.
Chat, man.
Big up, Sav, though. Hope you're good, mate.
How'd your leg go, actually?
Sorry, John, say that again.
How'd your leg go?
It's sound. It's in the back. I've done it.
You
I
finished
don't know
it?
what I'm going to do myself now. Back work Wednesday, so I've only got a few days to kill now.
Yeah. Look, Fabinho's wife's had the baby. He's got to get back to work. She can do it now. No mother's instincts take over. Right, he can get back. It's not like they're poor.
The nannies will do all the work anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Is Henderson's last performance got him out of this team? Because I think I think he played well at the World Cup. I think he weren't too bad when he's come back for us. But that last game was appalling. And do you know what? I know we've not got many options, in midfield, but if Elliott's out, if Fab's out and stuff, if they're back, then we do. But I'm just thinking, be it away game at Brentford, do you just keep him in there for that? Hopefully he plays better. He can't play much worse. But also, it is a tough fixture. It's physically demanding. Everyone's going to have to be on it. And we know, people don't like to hear it, but we know Hendo's a good shouter, good motivator, organizer, and all of this sort of thing. So does he keep his place because of that? Or do you take him out because that performance was terrible? And can he play 3 games on the bounce?
No,
that is the thing I'm thinking.
It's a lot of football. It's a lot of football in a week, ain't it? It's a lot of football. And we've got to remember, Hendo is 31. These things have to be put in. And look, I will give Hendo credit. I thought he was decent at the World Cup. And then he knows the role and job. I said it in the World Cup. I think I was on Jerry's show with G at the time. If you're playing Mason Mount in that England 3, you might as well play Hendo because he knows the role. And it showed completely different. With Liverpool, since he came back, he played in that number 8 position, and he's been very good. He's probably been our best midfielder since we came. He's actually been decent. But that game the other day where he played the number 6 role, oh my God, he was all over the shop. And I don't want him playing the number 6 role again. I think he looks tired. He played a lot of World Cup matches in a row as well. Don't forget the World Cup. It's game after game, but in a short space of time. Then he came back, played for Liverpool straight away in a short space of time. I think if Klopp does talk about zones where players doesn't want to play them, they're in certain areas of in their zones or whatever it is. And I think it's right for Hendo not to start this game. If this was a home game, I would probably give Stefan Iniesta a game. But because it's away, I'm going Navigator. I'm actually going. I'm going Navigator.
Sav wants Milner in there, but I'm not sure if Milner's available yet.
I think Milner's fit. I think Milner's still got hamstring injury, ain't he? So
let's just leave Milner out of it for a while. Let's just.
No. Truth be told, that being said, if it all remains to be seen who's available. We'll find out later. If Milner's fit and available, I agree with Savage. I'll put him in there.
Oh, is that where
I still wouldn't put him in there. I think Milner midfield, what you're getting, it depends on who's alongside of him. But I just think when you have Milner midfield, the game
Guarantees
passes
you.
him by like quite a lot. Like yes,
guaranteed 7 out of 10. Guaranteed 7 out of 10 performance.
Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. So I can't say that wouldn't. But I just think when you've got him in the midfield, in games like this, for me, he's more of a deterrent than anything. When we've got physical games, Milner is liable to get a yellow card, be too amped up. The game's too quick for him potentially. Like he needs to be in a game really against a midfield that's quite a bit more slower potentially. That's why for me he could play against potentially like a Manchester City because that midfield isn't quick or anything like that. Yes, they move the ball quick, but he could go in there and just do a job for you in that midfield. When you come up against teams like Brentford who are physical and they're going to be in your faces and stuff like that, I could just see a yellow card straight away come from James Milner, like in 2 seconds. First 3 minutes, Milner yellow card. Now we're sitting there thinking, fuck me, what do we do now? Does Klopp take him off? Does he keep him on? Does he switch position? But against certain other type of teams, yeah, Milner definitely has to come in.
I think the chat agrees with you. Took a lot of shots there in the chat, so fair. Look, me and Savage, we'll back him ourselves. Fine.
I love Millie. Don't get me wrong, but no, I think he's got hamstring injury still anyway. So I don't think it's. But that's the midfield three I'll go with. I think you just need to look at that. Hendo, you can't keep playing Hendo over and over and over and over. Just give him a little respite. It's a busy period. We're coming up. We've got FA Cup on the weekend. Then we've got league games again, and Champions League will be coming again before we know it. So we don't want to lose all our most experienced players to injury because we're overplaying them as well at the same time. So let's rotate where it's needed. That's a decent midfield.
If they perform, yeah.
Keita, Fabinho, and Thiago. That'll be my midfield three for this game. As I say, I think Milner's injured still. He's got hamstring. We're not sure. I mean, this is if Fabinho, is not taken his maternity leave. Oh, fucking do me a damn if he has. But he should be playing this game for me. Thiago will obviously play this game. And Naby's been coming on and looking decent. I think it's time to give Naby a start. Forget about his contract. Forget about what's going on because if Bobby's fit and available with 6 months left, Klopp's playing Bobby. So let's not do that game. If Naby's available and he's fit and available, it's not like we've got a dearth of talent. And Naby is a talent. It's just his injuries that let him down. He is a talented boy. Let's get him on the pitch. Naby's one of our best pressers off the ball as well in midfield. He's very good at pressing off the ball, and I'll play that midfield three. I know a lot of people were shouting about Harvey Elliott. He can't play. When we were talking about this earlier with midfielders and stuff, and Klopp has to play Harvey because there's no one. That ain't true, man. Klopp loves Harvey.
Exactly.
Klopp loves Harvey, and if Harvey's available, Klopp will think about playing him.
Got to admit, Jay, just quickly on Harvey, right? I really like him, and there's so many different opinions on how good he is and where he should play. For me, I like him as that number 8 position, and I know he's not this good, like nowhere near, right? And I'm sorry to even mention this name, but I would like him to develop into like a Bernardo Silva-esque type player. Short, good low center of gravity, right? Gets across. Look, everyone says, he can't defend and this and that, right? But on a good day, Harvey covers the pitch really well. He's press resistant. He's good at passing, like short range passing, not long range. Links up with Trent and Salah really nicely. Like I trust him on the ball. And he's having a season that you'd expect from a young man. Sometimes he's good. Sometimes he's rubbish, but I think like we're a bit too reactionary when he's bad, to be honest with you. And everyone's like, he should be out on the wing, he should be this and that. No, it's just a good, promising young player that's put into a very inconsistent team. The players around him ain't performed particularly well, and he's having an inconsistent season slightly himself. But Look, I didn't want to say the name, but I'm just saying, if that was the ceiling, I'm saying Bernardo Silva's the ceiling. I'm saying work towards that. That's the top. Like, look, there's no point me saying, oh, be a Henderson, because I don't want him to be a Henderson. I don't want that.
We get you, man. It's cool.
The way the chat just went nuts. Fucking hell, man. I'm looking at the comments. I was like, Jesus. Like, my phone just went. I was like,
right, everybody, right? Everyone tell me where Bernardo Silva was at 19. Someone quickly now in the chat. In the chat, you've got 1 minute. You got 1 minute right now in the chat to tell me where he was.
This is a great point. But it does make a good point.
Let me find out where Bernardo Silva was actually at 19. What was he doing at 9?
No one knows him before Monaco. I'm telling you right now.
No, Cav's got a good point here. Elliot is only 19. And when we think about 19-year-old footballers, take all the 19-year-old footballers in world football, yeah? Harvey ain't actually that bad for a 19-year-old footballer playing Premier League football. We've got to look at it like that as well. I know everyone goes on about Pedri and Gavi, but everyone goes on about Pedri and Gavi like they watch them every week. Do you know what I mean? We don't know if Pedri and Gavi are having stinkers. We don't know because no one's watching them. So people just we have got to be careful. Yeah, Elliot is only 19 years of age. If Elliot was like this at 27, then we'd have an issue. Do you know what I mean? But the he's 19 and only just 19. So
he's 19 at Liverpool under Klopp.
Yeah, that's just
the guy's got the quality. Like, yeah, the same people that say, "I know he can't be that good," are the same ones that are saying sign Ramsey from Villa, and they've watched him like 2 times. Like, it's just
that is what Ted's saying. Type.
Yeah,
exactly.
I just think we're so reactionary with it. Like, it's crazy. I think it's good.
Happy New Year, my friend. Happy New Year to you. Right, forward line. Because there is a left wing issue. That's not pretend there ain't. Is Ox going to play his 3rd game in a row? Or does Carvalho come in?
Ox comes in. Ox.
I think it'll be Ox. Yeah.
Ox is going to play 3 games in a row, you know. You know what people are going to tell you now? It's 2023 and we're playing Ox.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm annoyed at the fact that it is 2023 and we're playing Ox, but...
Right. Ox is going to fuck wrong?
No. I think he weren't as good in the last game as he was in the game before, or with the appearance he made against Man City off the bench. I agree, but if Bobby, right, let's say Bobby's in, we hear Klopp's press conference later, and Bobby's available, right? Bobby's available because he did say Bobby's only going to be out for a couple of games, so this is like the 3rd or 4th game, so he might be available. So say Bobby's available, yeah. Bobby starts in the number 9 position. We happy Darwin off the left and Mo on the right?
Of course.
I think it's arguably the best. It's
that best front three.
Look at all the performances this season, and we've played our best stuff when that was the forward line. So if you're going to use that as the yardstick, then yeah, that's the best. I don't think
it's going to be interesting watching Darwin on the left in a tight pitch kind of atmosphere. Like it'll be interesting. I would want to see him there, but it'll be interesting to see.
He just burns it. Is he the quickest striker in the league?
Yeah,
attacker in the league.
I think so. Yeah.
I think him and Haaland would be a good race. Haaland is very stupidly.
Haaland's deceptively quick, but I don't think he's. I think if they're. You see when Darwin made that run from the middle of the pitch all the way to the left-hand side, burning everyone, got the ball and then took it past the fullback again, got that cross shot in. I don't think Haaland's got that kind of pace. I think Haaland's extremely quick over a shorter distance, but over a long distance.
No, I would say the other way around. I think Haaland, if you did it long distance, I'm not saying he burned anyone like Nunes, but over long distance, Haaland is rapidly quick. Like That's it. That's what I mean. So acceleration wise, I think Haaland can't burn. But if they were to do long distance, I think Haaland might just beat him in a race because.
Well, they say that about Virgil, don't they? They say Virgil. Like Mo and Mane were the quickest. Salah and Mane were the quickest at the club at the time. but they both said over a longer distance, Virgil's the quickest.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Though.
It's that kind of
just length for stride, isn't it?
Yeah, it's length for stride.
Yeah, literally. These guys are giants, man. These guys are like giants.
But not Darwin. I've not seen it like Darwin in a long time, where he can go from standing still to 100 miles an hour in a blink of an eye. That's
Mane.
where Mane, Darwin, these kind of players. That pace. That pace is ridiculous. And look, with the Darwin Núñez thing, let's just talk about it. I know a lot of people are coming for Darwin, and rightly so. Let's be truthful. Darwin could have had 9 goals over this Christmas period, right? And his finishing will be a concern if it keeps going, right? But as I keep saying, I'm happy with all his round game at the moment. If he gets some finishes and starts finishing teams off, it will be fine. We'll all be happy. If he had Haaland level finishing with his agility and pace and athleticism, he'd be out of this world. Do you know what I mean? He'd be unstoppable.
Well, we could say that, but then if Haaland had Núñez's all-round gameplay, we're probably talking about the best player on planet Earth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
that's what I'm saying about Darwin. He's not far away. Like, if you work it out like that, he's not. He doesn't have to learn a lot, if that makes sense. There's not a lot of his game he has to learn a lot about. He's got quite a lot of it there already, and we're a threat under him. There's no doubt about it. We're a threat under Darwin. You ask any defender in the Premier League about if they've come up against Darwin Núñez, they're probably like, bloody hell. We don't want to come up against him every week because he just bullies you. He's as strong. He's as agile. He's as athletic. He's quick. He's got all the abilities to make him a superstar player. He just needs to finish chances. Do you know what is weird with Darwin? He reminds me of Mo a lot, right? And I said this about Mo Salah the other day, right? Only Darwin's missed more chances than Mo Salah this season, right? Only Darwin Núñez has missed more chances than Mo Salah this season. We let Mo get away with it. Do you know why we let Mo get away with it? It's because Mo's got a catalogue of getting 20 goals a season, right? For the last few years. So we let Mo get away with it. So Mo misses chance. We're like, fuck's sake, Mo. But we know at the end of the season, Mo's going to have 20 to 30 goals that year, right, that season. With Darwin at the moment, Darwin ain't got a back catalogue like Mo. So we can't go, it's okay, he's missing his chances, because we know Darwin's going to score 25 goals at the end of the season, if that makes sense. And I think that's why we let Mo get away with it so much. Because Mo misses chances, man. Mo misses chances in that last game as much as Darwin did. Do you know what I mean? But because he's got a back catalogue of goals in a season, we're like, it's okay, because we know he's going to get 25 anyway. Like Mo this year, he's got 22 goals and assists in 23 games. I mean, he's got that. Darwin hasn't yet. That's the problem.
I think you see when people say as well, like, Darwin's finishing is going to get, like, he just needs to improve. That's not going to improve. His finishing isn't going to, like, improve. His finishing is what it is now, is exactly what it will always be like. That's the same with Mo. Mo's finishing hasn't improved since he got here. It's the same finishing that he's always been doing. They've just become more consistent at it. They're just consistent in what they do. So over time, that consistency, as you said, it will just show over a period of time. You're not going to go from, Darwin's not going to go from finishing like how he is now to some, I don't know, like prime Lewandowski. Like, it doesn't even Lewandowski, like, regardless of what he was like when he first joined Dortmund, he's always been able to finish. It's just about consistency now, teams you're playing in, chances that you're now getting. Like, Haaland's finishing isn't going to get any better. Haaland's still going to finish the same way for the next 10, 15, however long he decides to play. But if he moved to a different team, for example, and wasn't scoring as much, people might start saying, oh, his finishing's not as good. No, his finishing is still equally as good. Harry Kane, the same. Harry Kane has always been a finisher. But you remember Harry Kane when he first started playing for Spurs. That guy couldn't hit a fucking barn door. All of a sudden, more chances, the ball gets to him in certain positions. All of a sudden, now you become more consistent at it.
I'm sorry to kill you mid-flow, right? But did you watch Harry Kane at Norwich and Leicester? The guy.
But that's what no. That's what I'm saying though, is that it's all about the teams that you're playing in, styles. Because his finishing didn't change. Like, watch any goal that he ever scored, if he even really did score when he played for them. It's like the finishings are all the same as they're going to see today. The difference is now he's so much more consistent. And that's the difference between a player who's mid-level and the elite players. They're consistent. That's why we look at Messi and Ronaldo like the way we do, because they're able to do what they do consistently for 15 years. Nobody else can do that. People have like a 2-year period and then they fall off. Imagine if, Mo Salah was to be able to produce the amount of goals he scored in his first season for 6 years in a row. Now we're looking at Mo completely differently, necessarily to how we might, some people look at him now. It's just that consistency will get him there. And Darwin's the same. I don't think his finishing will ever improve, but his consistency in getting in those same opportunities over time, if he keeps doing it, it just becomes repetitive, and he should learn how to then, finish like certain ways, and eventually he'll probably click.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you're meaning. Like, he's getting all these chances, Darwin, like Mo does, right? And what happens is once he starts getting more consistency in front of goal, he will start scoring him goals. That's what people in the chat. That's what G's meaning by it. He's not meaning that his technique's going to change. He's going to change his finishing and all that.
Yeah, he's going to still try and do the same thing.
It's a consistency level. So once he gets more consistent in front of goal, because of the chances he gets, he'll get 20 a season because he'll get more consistent in front with the chances he gets, like Mo does. Mo, you see, sometimes Mo still goes for the same shot a lot of the time, right?
Yeah,
and it either comes off or it don't. But Mo's very consistent in front of goal, which is why he gets 20 to 30 goals a season. He's not a natural finisher, as they would say. Like a Haaland is a natural finisher. A Robbie Fowler back then was a natural finisher.
Look at Timo Werner.
They could,
Everyone says, he can't finish. How the hell did he go from scoring all those goals to go into a team where he doesn't score? Everyone said he's a poor finisher. Goes back to Leipzig. He's the exact same player.
He's their top ever goal scorer there, isn't he? In the club's history.
Nothing changed with Werner. Like, nothing changed with him. It's just consistency and the teams that you're playing in and stuff like that. Like, nothing changed with him. He still does the same things that he's doing at Chelsea. It's just different.
Chelsea do have a history of destroying strikers.
Yes, yeah. They have a mad history. Think about all the strikers that they've had over the years. Like, I would have loved to have had Falcao, Torres in his, Shevchenko. Like, Jesus Christ, man, you've had some strikers
they've destroyed is unbelievable.
See, I would like Timo Werner. I would have liked Timo Werner at Liverpool because the attributes that Timo Werner has suit Liverpool Football Club. Yeah, and what it is, 100%. It get consistent in front of goal. Once you start scoring, the goals will get more consistent. And with Darwin, once he gets more comfortable with it as well, and he's relaxing himself, because you see he goes quite stiff in front of goal, don't he? And once he relaxes himself, then he's going to be more consistent. Not every striker is a natural finisher either. Yeah. We've got to because you're a striker, it don't mean you're a natural finisher. Do you know what I mean? Harry Kane's a natural finisher. Haaland's a natural finisher. Lewandowski grew into a more natural finisher. Suarez, these greats, Omri's. I wouldn't class Mbappe as a natural finisher. I just
he is. He is. He's cool.
He scores a lot. I wouldn't class Mo as a natural finisher.
I get what you mean, though, Jamie. I think I agree with that one. I wouldn't call Mo a natural finisher.
They just know where the goal is without looking, and they can score blindfolded. That's what a natural. It's just in your game.
Mbappe does. Maybe Mbappe.
Yeah.
Mbappe is the sort of guy that doesn't matter where he is in that 18-yard box or near the 18-yard box. He has a picture in his mind and he usually executes it. The guy is cold. Have you not seen him when he's played through ball and he do step over and taking the keeper out of the game and finishing? Like, have you not seen him at the back stick, talking him in, curlers into top corners, Lincoln?
I have seen Mbappe miss shitloads at the same time.
But everyone
one-on-ones.
But unless you're going to
but natural
finishing,
But the thing is, natural finishing and goal scorers are two totally different things.
There's a difference between a Harry Kane and a Mo Salah. Like, one is more natural at finding the back of the net than the other.
Yeah, yeah.
But then one of them is a lot more consistent
So,
purely
Harry
because of the team that he's in. So,
Harry Kane's a natural finisher. Mo Salah's a
yeah.
goal scorer. They're sort of
Yeah,
like,
like they will
you
get
know what I
into
mean?
the opportunities all the time.
Yeah.
But he'll miss
That's what
how
I'm
many?
saying.
Whereas Kane will have 5 chances. If Kane and Salah both had 5 chances in a game, like equally the exact same chances, I'm more likely to think that Kane will outscore Mo in that kind of battle. Not because Mo can't finish, it's just Mo's just not a natural finisher. But Mo will get 5 chances. Harry Kane's getting 2. You know what I mean? So it's like he's getting 2 and he has to score those, and more often than not, he will do it kind of thing. But Mbappe, I'm gonna have to agree with Cav actually.
Yeah. All right, we'll give it a Cav on that one with thingy. But that's what I'm trying to say between finisher and goal scorer. Someone's very natural
yeah.
at it.
I've got to disagree with it, and I'm probably out on my own here, but I do believe Nunes will become a better finisher, and I think he can learn that.
Yes.
I think he can. To be honest, like, all that he does at the minute is impact games, and he makes all his own chances because of the runs he makes, the timing of his runs, the angle of his runs, and his intelligence in that, right? His finishing at the minute isn't great, but as games are going on, he's picking the right technique. It's just not quite hitting it right or not quite getting the right angle on it. But his body shape's a bit better.
Yeah.
He's hitting the ball better. Like the one where he lifted it over the keeper, that was the right decision, you know? Earlier on in the season, he's just first time shotting him from anywhere. I'm actually seeing him now take the ball down, cut in, trying to get it on his opposite foot, get centered to goal. So you're seeing improvement. I don't think he's ever going to be a finisher like Haaland, right? But the difference between the two is that Haaland at the minute is getting a lot of chances put on a plate for him. I'm not denying his quality, but he is, right? Just look at the Grealish layoff to him the other day. Nunes isn't getting them chances because Liverpool aren't good enough and intricate enough at the minute to give him them chances on a plate. The chances he is getting are really difficult techniques to try and finish. Some are easier than others, but he's still got work to do to put them in. It's not just literally tapping it in the net. And then Nunes is a guy where Haaland is someone that's like a 1-in-1, 1-in-2, and that's quality, and I'd love to have that. Yeah. Nunes is a 1-in-3 or 4, but Nunes over a course of a game will create 10 chances. Haaland will create 5. So I think that Haaland overall is going to be a better finisher. So take him out of the equation, he'll get a ton of goals. Compare Nunes with everyone else. Come the end of an entire league season, he will be up there with the very, very top. He won't be the guy. He won't be as clinical, but he will be up there with the goal scorers because of how many he creates, because of his movement. And we can't just disregard his movement and his pace and all of this, right? Because that's the package that the player is. Yeah. He's one position on the football pitch, and that's what he brings. So we shouldn't disregard that. And I'm not trying to defend him for the finishing at the minute. I think it should be better, but we're trying to do these comparisons. Just watch the games and look at the chances he's getting.
Don't compare to Haaland. That's the thing. Everyone compares. Everyone compares to Haaland, and that's the problem. Haaland is like, you know, some people compare to players to Messi and Ronaldo and things like that. You shouldn't do that because some of these players are just in a league of their own. You know, they're just that special. They're in a league of their own. But if you look at Darwin, you would say Darwin he's off the gut. Right. I just said don't compare to Haaland. But what I will say is Darwin's better at creating chances for himself than Haaland is. There you go. I said it. Fuck it. Clip it up. But he probably is, right? Because of his raw athleticism and his pace, yeah? But Haaland's a natural born finisher. That's his job. You could then say Haaland's job isn't to do what Darwin does. Because Haaland's job is to just put the ball in the back of the net. If he has 8 touches all game but scores a hat-trick, Haaland's done his job, right? And that's what Man City bought him for, right? So all strikers are different. Do you know what I mean? All attackers are different. But as you say, Darwin will score goals. There's no doubt about that. I think because of the chances he creates, once he gets more consistent in front of goal, Darwin will get 20 a season. I'm very convinced by that. Easily. He will get 20 a season. And then we'll look back.
I'm not going to hang my hat on it, but I hear you.
Yeah, no, you know what needs to happen? Yeah. Do you know what needs to happen? Liverpool need to improve. Because we're all sitting here, right, over these past few games, and we're saying Haaland's missing chances. What has the team created for him? Now, given there's some through balls in there and stuff like that, some good crosses into the box from like 30, 40 yards out on wide up, right and left. Okay, fair enough. every single chance pretty much we're creating is someone just hoofing the ball over to him that he runs after. That's not creation. That's not creation. That's not triangles at the edge of the box and then slipping in through, or just like 1-2 playing. One of two players can finish it, or a cross that's put in that's driven back and all he's got to do is just get his foot on it. It's none of that. Like, it's literally hoofball at the minute to Haaland and see what he can do.
But I think
we're scoring goals, yes, but we're scoring because of him. Like, maybe if the team was playing better, right, and Salah and Trent had this link up where Trent can pick his head up at the edge of the 18-yard box and just play a pass in that we've seen him do to Bobby and things like this, he'd just get these customary goals. On top of that, the guy don't take pens. I know we've not really got any pens, but like Harry Kane's pretty much feeding off scraps a little bit at Spurs at the minute. But the guy will take a penalty if he gets one today, and no one will question whether he's a good goal scorer, because at the end of the season, he'll have 20 goals. But week in, week out, he'll take a pen. And that will just keep the conversation away from whether he's a good striker or not. Whereas Nunes, he has to be clinical at the minute to even, be out of these conversations. Like, if this guy was like Harry Kane, if we got a penalty on Monday, right, and he took the penalty, he scored, no one will be like, oh yeah, look, he's not a good goal scorer. Because instantly he's scored a goal, so people just forget the conversation. At the minute, he's just not. He's doing everything himself. Like, and look, it's 2 games off the back of the World Cup. The guy's going to improve. He's going to get better. I think like these conclusions we're trying to draw on him. He's not a good finisher and he's not this and that. It's way too soon, man. Way too soon. Yeah. Let's talk at the end of the season about it, and then I'll have a proper conversation.
Do you know what I think? I think Gakpo will help him. I think Gakpo will help him massively.
Yes,
I think it'll take the pressure off, because I think Liverpool done him a bit of disservice as well, because we got rid of Mane on the same day he arrived. We got rid of Origi, got rid of Taki. So all these backup strikers are Mane left, So then you spend that money on Darwin and you're like, well, you have to do everything now. Yeah. It impacts him straight away. Well, I've always said Liverpool do that wrong sometimes. You should get a player in a year or two before you know another player's going to move on. So it gives that player time to adjust to what he needs to do instead of coming in straight away. Yeah. So I do feel for Darwin in that, because he has to play. There's no doubt about it. Because of what he does on the pitch, the chances he creates, the menace and chaos that he brings, the uncontrollable pace that he's got. He's got to burn every defender. I don't even think Kyle Walker would keep up with him.
No chance.
He's got to burn every single defender. He's got to be a threat. He's more in the game than Mo Salah is at the moment, right? Salah can go missing a lot, but Salah then scores a goal. And then, because that's Salah's game now, as I said, Salah's adapted his game now, where he's more of the number 9, but plays on the right-hand side, He's adapted his game in that way. But Darwin is constantly in the game. He stretches the opposition. Since Luis Diaz got injured, we've had no one who stretches the opposition, goes in behind. Yeah? And Darwin is doing that. When Luis Diaz and Darwin were both playing together for them 2 games, Luis Diaz setting him up both times for tap-ins. And that's what Gab's getting at. All right? The two games they played together for Luis Diaz's injury, he set Darwin up twice and they were both tap-ins. Right? And we've got no one else in the pitch that's doing that at the moment. In fact, Darwin is setting up Mo for tap-ins at the moment.
Yeah.
Right? So, and what Darwin's doing is getting, like Cav said, is getting on the end of absolutely everything, because he's a willing runner. And because he does, he's making something happen. Like that 3rd goal for Villa, we wouldn't have scored that if Darwin didn't make that run. He made that goal. He was the reason we scored that goal. So that's why he has to play. That's why he has to play.
I think he'll get I'm just looking now. I was intrigued to find out what Mane's goal scoring was like whilst he was here. I think he can get these kind of numbers, like first season 13. This is all competition. 13 in his first, 20 in the next, 26 in the next, 22, 16, and 23. I feel he would probably get those type of numbers. And everyone loved Mane, so if he gets those kind of numbers, I can't see why. Yeah. In some seasons,
he'll beat all of them. Yeah. The thing is as well, Diaz, right? We all sat here, or not all, sorry, I'm not sure who, but I'm generalizing in terms of across podcasts and stuff, okay? We sat here saying Diaz needs to be on the pitch for us. He's our only creator at times. He's the only guy that gets things and makes things happen. Okay. When the game isn't working out stylistically and patterns of playing this and that, who's the guy that gets the ball and makes things happen in the final third? We said it was Diaz. And then on the other hand, we were sitting here going, but you don't get enough goals. I don't know if he's a good goal scorer. I'm like, well, but we all want him in the team. So why is that weren't a criticism then? Like we're not all
I don't see Diaz outscoring. No, I don't.
Yeah, but we're not sitting like everyone's now like building this whole agenda against Nunes, like he's a flop, he's a waste of money, he's this and that. We'll do the same for Diaz then, because they both make things happen. They're the only guys in the team that do, and they both. And you're saying that they both don't contribute with enough goals, so it's exactly the same conversation. I mean, look at that lineup there, right? Oxlade-Chamberlain, Fabinho, and Keita behind him. I mean, you could replace Keita with Henderson, right? And you could replace Oxlade-Chamberlain with Carvalho. That team, right? I know our team is different to Man City's because ours is primarily through our fullbacks, but that's not a team blessed with creation in there. Now look at a Man City lineup behind Haaland. They've got De Bruyne, they've got Bernardo Silva, they've got Gundogan, they've got Foden, Grealish, forget that guy, Mahrez. Like, come on, the level of creativity is so different. Like, we're not comparing apples and apples here when we're comparing strikers. I think it's so unfair on Nunes at the minute. Like,
but remember, they're all doing. We've also got to remember these guys are all doing different roles. Like, Mahrez isn't there to score 30 goals like Salah. He's here to just create and score. So he's got that burden. Grealish the same, even though he's not doing it. But Grealish the same, Foden the same, Bernardo Silva the same. Like, but we've got to also remember, like, which is good in our, which is a positive in our sense, is that where we have like a Salah or a Mane before, and now we've got a Nunes and stuff like that. Like, the roles that they're being asked to do is totally different to Manchester City. City, they're not asked to. Mahrez isn't told, I needed to get 30 because that's people. No, he doesn't care. Get 5, or you care. As long as you set up another 15, for example, perfect. Do you know what I mean? That's 20 goals and assists. We could deal with that. You getting 5 isn't going to kill me. Grealish, again, I know he's not doing it, but him the same thing. Bernardo Silva the same thing. Phil Foden the same thing. De Bruyne the same thing. And Cav's right, man. We haven't got anyone in midfield that I'm looking at who I would say is one of those kind of midfielders. But it then goes back to Klopp. Klopp doesn't play that way. I almost think that Klopp doesn't actually want a midfielder who comes in to score goals. I don't even think he realistically wants that, because then it might take away from what the team actually needs. Because if he did, he'd go out and sign one. And if you look at all the midfielders that we've been linked to, bar Jude, maybe, I don't really know what his goal scoring is like, but bar Jude, every other midfielder, they're not getting you goals. Hell no. Like, the goals are like the last thing that you're thinking about with these guys. And creation.
I don't even think Jude Bellingham scores that many goals.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's going to come in and do like De Bruyne numbers or Gerrard. Like, he's not going to do that at all. Like, he's coming in to do the job that Klopp wants him to do. And then again, even assists. Look at all the midfielders again that we've been linked to. I can maybe see them getting 2 assists if you're super lucky. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not looking at those kind of midfielders. So Cav's right, man. Like, we the way that we play and stuff like that, at the end of the day, that's not the job role. So it is good that Nunes is the guy who can create chances on his own, kind of thing, for himself and for Salah or Bobby or whoever. And it's good that Salah can also do the same thing as well. That's the only time you're going to hear me bigging up Nunes. So savor it.
I take it, Jay. I take it. Sit them back.
So, guys,
Nunes, Jimmy, I think you said it the other day. Nunes has only been in professional football for 3 years.
Yeah.
I think Jamie said it.
Now, Haaland has been in professional football for a lot longer than Nunes has. Is it more experience than what Nunes has? Mm-hmm. So why can Nunes not reach Haaland's level? Why not? Because he has all the attributes to do so.
True.
Well,
true.
I agree with you. If Darwin starts scoring goals, if Darwin is a 20-goal season, gets 20 goals a season, for Liverpool Football Club every single season, with his pace, his movement, and his athleticism, he's going to be one of the top strikers in world football. There's no doubt about that, because what coach or manager,
every top coach has said that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't want a striker or an attacker, whatever you want to call them, with his pace, movement, and if he gets 20 goals a season, everyone was snapping up in world football. If he misses the loads but scores 20 goals still, 20 plus goals, they'd still be happy. Because, look, I love Mo Salah. Mo Salah's my favourite Liverpool player. He's a machine. The man gets 20 plus goals every single year. But if he converted the amount of chances that he should, the man would be on 40 or 50. Do you know what I mean? So, but loads of people would take Mo Salah because he's a goal-scoring machine, yeah? But they know he misses chances. It'd be the same with Darwin eventually. While Darwin learns this game still and still gets, learning this game and getting better at it and better at it, he will get more consistent in front of goal. As I keep saying, I think the club done him harsh by bringing him in the same day Mane left and Origi leaving and there's no backups and making him like, and the way we set up at the start of the season by putting Darwin right through the middle and playing Mo really wide and Diaz really wide and making sure everything goes through Darwin. I think we put a lot on his shoulders straight away. And I don't think that was quite right either. So I feel for him in that way. So, but yeah, I'm upset he's not scoring enough goals because, the chances he has, he does have to start putting the ball in the back of the net. We all know that. But once he does, I can't sit here and I give him a high rating every game. I might be one of the only people. When we do the play ratings, I'll give him a high rating because he's so involved in the game. Yeah. He's not hiding. And the fact that, he's missing these chances and fans in the stadium are getting at him and laughing at him, he doesn't really go hiding, does he? No. I'll give him that. He doesn't go hiding. He still keeps going. So, I'm all on the Darwin
Jimmy,
train. I love the guy.
Just on that, Jimmy, I watched an interview on Jurgen Klopp did with a German journalist after the game. Now, they were talking about a certain other striker that Jurgen Klopp signed in his first season, did absolutely nothing and people wanted him out of the club. That certain striker was Robert Lewandowski.
Yeah, he got 8 goals in 44 games.
Now, I'm not saying Nunez can become this. I'm not saying that at all. But bear in mind, Jurgen Klopp knows what he's doing with these kind of players. He sees something in Nunez that is special, and we need to trust him in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great.
If Klopp didn't, right, I know we've not got many options up top, but he won't play. You've seen it with players that have come into this club. If they don't know the system and they're not showing enough, they don't play. Quite simply, he doesn't care.
Yeah,
like he'd sooner put Salah up front and put like Doak in or something. He would, but he just got to read Klopp's body language towards Nunez and everything he's saying about him. Like there's so much belief that this guy is going to be genuinely something amazing for us. And look, I just add to that. You've probably seen that interview, John. Klopp said that he did half an hour shooting separates, 1-on-1 with Lewandowski, and he said in half an hour sometimes he wouldn't even score one.
Yeah, he was missing them all in training.
So it shows you can improve.
You know what? I would love to hear Lewandowski's version of this story. And I feel like Klopp, he might not say anything until he retires, but maybe this story isn't, because like the way I look at it is, I think to myself, I mean, even if this was true and he was this crap striker and then blah, 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 that then tells me then, if I'm being honest, Lewandowski's best football came, in my opinion, after Klopp. Like, that's where he became this complete striker, like where he even says it with Pep Guardiola. When Pep Guardiola came into Bayern Munich, like that's where he really learned football. That's where he really learned like the game kind of thing. So then I'm just thinking, well, maybe we need Pep to teach, Nunez to kind of come in and do something. I don't know, but again, we already have Pep. We've already got our Pep.
Got our own Pep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into that, but I think like when it comes to Nunez, look, at the end of the day, let's be honest. We know, we can see it. Like the guy's got something about him that he just draws attention, and he draws all of this. Like the ball is like a magnet to him, so it always comes to him. He's quick. He's relatively strong. He gets himself in good positions. he just needs to just polish up a few things. But that will just come in. Potentially it will just come in time. But obviously, if it doesn't, that's when you then obviously will become a bit more concerned, because it's great that you get into these positions. Like, it is fantastic, but you're not scoring. It's now 3 games now without a goal. You're not scoring, and it gets to 5, 6, 7, but you're still getting in the same opportunities, and he's got 1 assist in that time. I will be concerned. I'd be like, okay, well, this isn't translating into anything at this current moment in time. So it's not actually benefiting anybody, just that the fact that you're always there, because you being there is actually a hindrance. We actually need someone else in that position. But if it translates into assists, like, I don't care if Nunes scored 10 goals. If you got like 15, 20 assists, I'll be like, oh, that's banging. That's a fantastic, return. I'm not looking at Nunes anymore to get goals anymore. I don't look at him as that guy. I don't think he's ever going to reach a level where I'm going to rely on him for goals. But what I will rely on him for is to make an impact in the game, whether that be goals or assists. That's just what I'm looking at him now, is he's that type of guy. I don't see him being a 30. I know he did it in Benfica, but that's in a different league. I don't see him coming over here and doing 30 goals a season and we're just relying on him. No, what I do see is he might have 30 goals and assists. So 20 goals, 10 assists, 10 goals, 20 assists, whatever it is, that's what I see him as. And that would be fantastic. That would actually be adding to what we have, already. It'll be what Mane was doing before. And if we can get another Mane, there we go. We can't complain at that at all.
I hear you.
But let's wait and see. Let's wait.
Not scored in 3, but been the only guy creating chances in the last 4 that we've won.
But this is what I'm saying, is that he's creating the chances, but eventually 3 turns into 4, turns into 5, turns into 6. Now you're
it won't though, G. Come on, it won't. The guy's look. He's going to score Brentford. He's going to score Brentford. I don't care what you say.
Our Arsenal fans are saying that Jesus is the sign of the season. United fans saying at the minute that Rashford is bang on form. United to score more goals than both of these guys.
Yeah.
So why is Nunes being harsh? I believe he's being harshly criticised.
Yeah, John, it's because he's got skinny legs and a ponytail, honestly. That's why.
Haaland's got ponytails.
I said it from the start. I said, he sounds mad, right? The guy just needs to cut his hair or something. Like, honestly, everyone, this Andy Carroll chant, the only thing that's similar is a ponytail. Honestly, that's how silly some fans are. I swear to God. I swear, when he runs, right, he looks like his legs are so skinny, whereas Haaland's like so powerful. Don't matter. They get from A to B the same. He just looks different. Like, he didn't score. He didn't score that 1 goal where the ball dropped out the sky. All right, well, let's go outside and drop 100 balls off a crane and let's see how many you score. It's fucking ridiculous what we're trying to do here. Right, okay. I'll play you a through ball and run half the pitch and try to finish at the end of it. Like, it's ridiculous. So go get a Robbo cross from just past the halfway line, right? That's curling and coming in at pace that you've got to run onto, head and stick in the back of the net. You won't do it. Most strikers won't do it.
Skinny legs and a ponytail. Jesus Christ.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But what you're saying is facts, though. I mean, what you are saying in essence, when you boil it down to, if you make it simplistic, like, that's true. Like, most people wouldn't be able to do that. Like, I'm sure the 4 of us, I know Cab plays ball, but I mean, I ain't played football in ages. I don't think if Robbo crossed me one of them balls, I'll be falling over like there's no man's business, to be honest with you. So, it's understandable. But I do think the criticism, as much as I get onto him, it's just more because I want to see more and I want to see him score. But some of the criticism is a bit stupid. Like, it does get to the point where you're like, all right, let's just leave it a little bit, because it is getting a bit too far in certain instances, because the people are right. I mean, I'm not hearing anyone talk about Anthony from Man United. I'm not hearing anyone talk about, I'm seeing people talk about Jadon Sancho's mental health. I'm sorry, just play football better, bro. Then your mental health will be absolutely fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not hearing anyone talk about all of these other players, and not to disrespect anyone with mental health or mental health issues at all. But it's just that we kind of let off some people, and then others like Nunes are getting, digged at a little bit too much. Like I said, I do it myself all the time. When I see him miss a chance, I'm like, bloody hell. But, if he's going to keep missing 4 chances a game, I will continue saying that. But at the same time, I would say the same thing to Anthony. Anthony's been crap, in my opinion, since he joined Manchester United, but he cost 80 million. And I rarely hear people really talk about his performances for Manchester United. They kind of, no, he's doing certain things, this, that. I'm like, he's not doing anything. He's not contributing anything to your team. You could have him out of the team and you wouldn't even notice. Do you know what I mean? Grealish costs 100 million. I'm sorry, you cost 100 million, mate. I expect to see even if we just go by stats, forget even your overall gameplay, your numbers should be way better than what they currently are, and they're awful. So, we've got to look at these kind of things, and we just got to wait and see, man. Let's see by the end of the season what Nunes is saying. If his numbers are still kind of relatively low, then cool, we can get onto him. If not, then then we have to big him up.
Yeah. Same.
Right, guys.
Hey, before we do, Jay, I'm not having this. Pac-Man reckons he's going to put together a 5-a-side team and beat us. Pac-Man, honest to God, I will cook you. Name a time and a place, right? I play 6-a-side 3 times a week, mate. I will cook you. I don't care what you say. You seem like a good guy, right? I like you in the chat. But do not come for me at 5-a-side because I will burn you alive, mate. I swear to God.
That's the angriest I've ever seen Cav.
I was just about to say that is the most passionate I've ever heard Cam. And we're not even talking about Liverpool. Flip it up.
Don't come at me about 5-a-side.
Nah, I played 11-a-side all my life. I gave it up a couple of years ago, and I played 6-a-side for 8-9 years, and I play 3 times a week. Like, don't ever say you'll do me at 5-a-side.
Jesus.
Right.
By the way,
I will break your fucking legs in a 5-a-side game.
You won't get near me, John. John, you wouldn't know.
Not you. I'm talking about a City fan. A City fan of 5-a-side game. I'm breaking your legs.
Well, you see, fans are struggling to put together a 5-a-side team. That's not even a joke.
No, right, the dig. Right, it's getting personal. Right, let's get. By the way, Aston Villa are beating Spurs. Before I just tell you everyone.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Villa are 1-0 up.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
In the hunt for top 4. Newcastle dropped points as well. Is what I'm saying? Yeah, it's 57 minutes gone so far. Bundia just.
That's the only way I'd see us making the top 4 is like other teams are just going to start dropping off over a period of time. That's where we'd probably win enough games to kind of, you know what I mean? Like Tottenham are dropping out. They've been shit. But Man United, Newcastle, you know what I mean?
I'm telling everyone right now, the top 4 at the end of the season will be Arsenal win the league, City will finish second, Liverpool third, and Man United fourth.
That'd be so crazy. That'd be so crazy.
I think that's how it's going.
I can see it as well.
I think at the nitty-gritty of things, I think if Arsenal will lose the league by now, it's the biggest bottle job. I know everyone say, when Liverpool lost the league to City and they caught them up. Liverpool were never on 43 points when City caught us up at this stage of the season that Arsenal are on now. So, and apparently everyone who's been on these points right now in January the 1st have gone on to won the Premier League. Yeah. So if Arsenal don't win it now, they've bottled it. But what I will say about Arsenal, they don't know what it's like being chased by this bloody City team from January. It's horrible. It's fucking nasty. And Arsenal, when it gets to the nitty gritty, that last few, from March onwards, it's very, it's pressure, man. With Newcastle, depends what they do in January, right?
Yeah, Newcastle are a weird one. Yeah,
it all depends what they do in January. It's business they do. But I just feel like Newcastle, the pressure might get to them a little bit as well. So because they've not been there. It's funny when you've not been. We've done it as Liverpool fans. When you've not been there, you feel the pressure. You do to get over the line. You feel it, man. So when you've not been there for a while or a long time, the pressure does get to you. And I think Liverpool know how to handle the pressure. That's why I still think Liverpool get top 4. And I just think Man United will get top 4 as well.
I can see that.
Changes every week.
We're 11 points ahead. Yeah, Savage, we were 11 points ahead. But what I'm trying to say is, no, we were never on 43 points. Any team that's been on 43 points on January the 1st have always won the Premier League. The year Liverpool won the Premier League, they were on 43 points on January the 1st.
What I will say, though, we can't keep saying, I'm looking at the table now, we can't keep saying I agree with what you're saying about Man City, and but one, we don't know if they're going to do that this season. They don't look like they'll get into that mode.
They don't look as
Yeah,
good.
so I don't know if that will happen. And two, we can't all keep saying. I see a lot of fans talk about Arsenal. Like Arsenal have been fantastic this season till now. Anyway, till
really
right
great.
now, they've been fantastic.
They deserve
There's
it.
nothing at the moment. Yeah, they would deserve it. Like there's nothing really, in my opinion, to suggest that they're the Arsenal of old, where they're just gonna falter. It might happen. I'm not saying in my because it could potentially happen, but the way that they're playing, the belief that they've got in the team, I don't know, man. I feel like for me, I'm looking at it and they're 7 points ahead now. I said if Arsenal were to go 10 points ahead of Man City, it's Arsenal's title. Yeah, I feel like Arsenal would then go on.
Have you seen Man City's next fixtures as well? Next 5.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying,
man.
But if Man City get through those fixtures with all wins, it might be a different conversation that we're having, because I don't see Arsenal continuing to. I feel like at some point Arsenal are going to, drop a point somewhere. I can't see them winning all their games between now and the end of the season. It's just when, you know what I mean? It's just we're in January now. Everyone said, oh, look at Arsenal come October. We got to October, they're still there. November, still there. December, they're still there. January, they're still there. So, we've got to give them a bit more respect. Like I think people are making out that Arsenal are the same team. They're not. They're showing everybody that they are not that same team anymore. So let's wait and see.
They're playing the best football in the league.
Yeah.
I know what Savage is saying here. Big up you, Savage. I agree with what you're saying. I'm just coming at Arsenal fans because they all came at us when we bottled it. So, I'm happy that fan who Arsenal bottled it. I'm going to come at them. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
because they came at us. So.
No! I'll be calling them bottlers if they don't win it. Best believe.
Yeah. Man
City drop more points over the next sort of few weeks. They might not. Arsenal might not feel that pressure. We've seen it when we won the league. We had such a good start and we got so many points clear that actually you kind of enter cruise control a little bit towards the end of the season. Man City just need to make sure they're there or thereabouts. I agree with you, Jay. Then that pressure will be there, and you can't. Unless you've been in it, you can't understand the pressure that it's like week. Every single game, it's a must win, and the pressure's different. But it might not even get to that.
Let me give you City's fixtures. City's next game on Thursday, they're away to Chelsea. All right. Then their next game after that, they're away to Man United. Then their next game against that, they're at home to Spurs. In their next 3 Premier League games, they've got Chelsea, Man United, and Spurs.
That's a big ask. Yeah.
You know what it is? Like I'm hearing those fixtures,
and then they got Wolves, and then they got Spurs again. So they're 5 games. Okay. They're literally playing Spurs twice, Chelsea, Wolves. That is.
Do you know what?
Run.
City.
I feel like the Wolves game will probably be the hardest one, for them.
Nah, Spurs. City don't like playing Spurs.
No, they're bogus.
They don't like playing Spurs.
Spurs this season, I don't know. But I get what I agree. They don't like playing Spurs.
This is why we got. Yeah, this is why we got to keep winning as well, because Spurs.
We might have tough fixtures ourselves.
Spurs keep dropping points, so we got to keep winning. You know what I mean? I've always said my eye is on Spurs. I don't really care about anyone else right now, because Spurs take the 4th spot. If once we catch Spurs up, then if we do, then my eyes will be on the next person. The next team.
Spurs are 5th.
Yeah, Man United are 4th right now, aren't they?
Yeah, Man United.
We're only 8 points behind Man City. Well, shit.
That's what I'm saying. My eyes are on Man City.
Hey, look, guys, let's just say it, because we're all beating around the bush. Liverpool going to win the league this season.
Thank you, man. Thank you, wow.
Could you imagine if that happened?
I have just watched a game where Liverpool won 2-1 and didn't score. We're going to win the league. So make it make sense, guys.
So I think, but you know what it is? I think what will kill us.
Sit with Chase. Sit with fucking Chase, Calv. Ruin the fucking league.
I think the draws are going to kill us.
Yeah, I think we're very capable of going on a winning run. I do think we are very capable of that. I mean, we've just won 4 Premier League games in a row. Look, Our next games is we got
played
Brentford on
crap.
Monday.
That's what I don't understand about
Yeah,
this season. Like, we played
this is
crap in these
this is
games,
the
like.
mad thing. This is the mad thing. We're shit. We're only 8 points behind City, and we've won 4 in a row from nowhere. It is a
I know,
mad
yeah.
year. And trust, by the way, trust Liverpool will be shit when City ain't great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's always the way.
That's
It's
that's a
always
great
the damn
point.
way. It's always the damn way.
How can we both be inch perfect and then both be not both, but
little
then
drop
they
off.
drop
A
off,
little
and
drop
we be
off,
crap?
yeah.
How, mate? Yeah.
But that's why
Let's get out-
Arsenal,
let's get out of
Newcastle, Man United. That's why these
They've
guys are
taken,
in
they've taken
and around.
advantage.
They've all taken advantage of that.
That's what it is.
It's true.
So our next games is we got Brentford on Monday. Then we got Brighton away as well. We don't play at home in the league again till Chelsea when we play them on Saturday the 21st. So we're away to Brentford, away to Brighton, at home to Chelsea, then away to Wolves. That's our next 4 games in the Premier League.
None of them sounded easy.
And then we have got Everton at home. 18th of February, we got Newcastle away, then Palace away, Man United at home, Bournemouth away. Yeah, our end of the season run's not too bad. Our end of the season run is Newcastle, Nottingham Forest at home, West Ham away, Spurs at home, Brentford at home, and Leicester away on the last day of the season. So,
Let's just go game by game.
It's just.
I've got a funny feeling we're winning this league.
John.
Right,
John, I'll give you £100.
Let's get out of here for John.
I
Predictions.
don't know what it is, but I've got a funny feeling Liverpool could win this league.
But do you know what? That being said, John, I laughed at you when you said we were going to beat Cardiff 7-1, and we went and did
Rangers,
that. So.
It? Rangers, yeah.
Rangers, yeah. So I know not to laugh at you anymore, John.
Predictions for tomorrow's game, because I actually think this game will be more difficult than Brighton away the following week. Predictions, guys.
3-2 Liverpool.
3-0 Liverpool.
Fucking clean sheet.
The way we're playing,
we're definitely not keeping any clean sheets around it.
If we play like we did against,
even Tony's injured.
Maybe.
So
apparently
that's their biggest goal threat.
I've just read that he might be available. So
I'll be honest. I just saw Dewsbury Hall walk past our midfield, and they had no Jamie Vardy on the pitch, no Inacho on the pitch. They just about had a Daka who came off injured. Anyone could score against Liverpool now, so I'm gonna go 2-2. I think.
Oh, Jesus Christ! A bit more positive, G, wouldn't he?
Kev.
Actually, Brentford are like a good. Or 3-2, like Cav is saying.
Brentford
but I just think.
You've got to remember, his Brentford team just beat Man City as well, didn't they? I mean,
remember we drew with Brentford last season with a better team, so we can't act like we've got a worse team now. Do you know what I mean? And that was when we had a decent team last season, and we drew against them away. So,
that's what I'm saying. They're a hard team to play, especially away. If this was at home, I'd be a bit more confident. I mean, their last game, they obviously beat West Ham away 2-0, but West Ham are like absolutely awful right now. On Boxing Day, they drew 2-2 to Spurs, and the game before that, before the World Cup, they beat Man City away 2-1. They've not actually lost. They drew a game before that. They drew 2-2. They haven't lost since the 23rd of October, when they lost 4-0 to Aston Villa. Since then, they drew 1-1 to Wolves, 2-2 to Nottingham Forest, beat Man City 2-1, drew 2-2 to Spurs, and beat West Ham 2-0.
Yeah, they've got 8 draws this season, man. Right.
Yeah, so what Brentford can do is score goals, but also what Brentford can do is concede goals. Same with Liverpool. So it all depends on if Liverpool just defend a little. If Liverpool defend a little bit better than they did against Leicester, I think Liverpool win this game, but I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to go 2-1, with us being 2-1 up, with 5 minutes to go, and being on the edge of our seat. That's and the whistle couldn't come soon enough. That's what I'm doing. 2-1. But I think, especially, we need to win though. Especially if Spurs lose today, it's another. We're catching them up. And then Man United have got some difficult games coming up with the Man United derby, Manchester derby, and that. So yeah, we need to keep getting 3 points game by game. And if we win tomorrow, it's 5 in a row. And these points quickly catch up, don't they? So, yeah, we've got to smash it out. But big up, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Big 3-hour show. So, guys, enjoy the rest of your new year. Happy New Year to everybody. And I'll be back tomorrow for the watch along, guys. Please make sure you join me for the watch along tomorrow. It should be a fun one. Us getting beat. But it should be a fun game, though. So make sure you join me tomorrow. I would appreciate it. Guys, when this video ends, my watch along video will pop up on the screen. Just please leave a like on that video before you leave your computer. I would appreciate it. So big up to everyone. Thank you very much.